The program starts now.
KOCN. Unsportsmanlike conduct on 1620 The Zone. Husker Athletics, Creighton, and yes, UNO. Don't miss a moment, they'll give you your fix. They're on every day from 2 until 6. Spend your afternoons with John, Josh, and Nick. John, Josh, and Nick. They'll show you what sports talk really is.
Hey, it's a radio program.
Hey!
Be ready. Be prepared.
I'm ready. I'm on
We do have baseball on.
baseball.
Baseball. We do.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on 1620 The Zone. Husker Athletics, Creighton, and yes, UNO.
Welcome, everyone, to the program on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, the Zone mobile app, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. But no matter where you absorb the program, it's always AM radio.
Hell yeah, it is.
1620 The Zone.
Da-da-da. Da-da-da.
Congratulations, Kansas. You have polluted our air,
Oh, that's right.
and you've won a
Oh,
national championship.
yeah. Wow.
And you'll eventually get dinged by the NCAA. Not for the air, by the way. That was funny. It was funny to watch the... This has not been mentioned. If it has, it's been kept under the table.
Okay.
The whole tournament. But as soon as Kansas won the national championships, I saw 2 or 3 different national writers immediately tweet in, yep, champion today, on probation tomorrow, or something to that effect, because, Kansas has still got those sanctions back from, the 2017 FBI scandal. And, they had 5 major sanctions that they're waiting to find out about. Yet no one was mentioning this during their run, but then they win the national championship. It's like, champions today, probation tomorrow. Ha ha.
I'll be honest, I'd forgotten about it.
I had too.
I could, because if you would have asked me yesterday, hey, whatever happened with the Kansas FBI investigation, I would have said, nothing major came down. I thought it was done. It's not done. It's not done.
It is not done.
I'm unfamiliar. What happened?
Well, this was all part of the FBI.
Gave him shoes.
Yeah, this is all part of the FBI scandal that there were some bagmen working for Adidas.
This is pre-NIL.
That were funneling.
Which is hilarious because it's all legal now.
Let's say if this would have happened today, it would have been fine.
It would have been totally fine.
Yeah, they were funneling players towards Kansas shoe companies. They're an Adidas team. And then Kansas tried to play the victim by saying that Adidas was trying to extort them. So, and then while they were saying that as part of their defense for the NCAA, they re-signed a big contract with Adidas,
which is what you do when you're being extorted.
Exactly.
I love that. Yeah.
So there's the 5 major level 1 violations. I'm reading from let's see. I think this was Matt Norlander's column. He said the win obviously comes with a looming situation for Self in Kansas. Looming. The uncertain future has the potential to influence what Self can or wants to do. Kansas is awaiting punishment from the NCAA, and sources have told CBS Sports that it's likely that the damage will be severe and coming soon.
Oh, boy.
This, of course, dates back to the FBI scandal, as the NCAA has pinned 5 level 1 violations on Self and his program. He's guaranteed a suspension, and its length could be anywhere from low double digits in games to sitting out an entire season. And there's a chance Kansas could be banned from the 2023 postseason.
They got a tournament win this time, though, and that's all that matters.
And if you're wondering, well, does this mean they're going to end up, doing the whole banner takedown thing? No. Most likely not, because none of the players on this year's team were a part of that investigation, which happened all the way back in 2016, 2017. So all those guys.
So they're
were
still
gone.
going to be champs. They're
Yeah.
not going to get it removed.
Yeah. Now, maybe next year they'll be banned from the tournament, or Bill Self will have to sit out a dozen games or something.
They
like
gave him a
that,
lifetime deal. Like, nobody cares down there, obviously.
No,
They're
they don't
totally
care.
good with it.
Are you
know?
kidding?
Yeah.
They won a
Just-
national championship.
Not to
Do you think
mention
they
again,
care?
it's all legal now. Who cares?
Yeah.
Move on.
I know. It is kind of funny how that all kind of played out.
Mhm.
You know, it is, but that's what it is. It's what the NCAA does. But congratulations. On that note,
Rock,
congratulations,
chalk.
Kansas.
Jayhawks, KU.
That was a nice little comeback.
Yes, it was. I wouldn't describe it as like a great game because it was a game of two large runs and then a bit of back and forth. You
Mhm.
know, it was kind of like we've talked about before, the Patriots-Falcons Super Bowl. Not a great game. It had one large run early, one large run late, and then, that's what it was.
Yeah. It
Doesn't mean
still
it's a
gave
great
us
game.
drama at the end.
Exactly. And that's what you want in it.
Sure.
You had another injury, which was a bummer. Twisted
Right.
an ankle.
Did you notice the floor buckling?
So I didn't live. And then
I didn't either, but then
and
I saw
some
replays.
stuff.
And it was like, oh my God, the floor buckled.
Yeah.
That beautiful elevated floor that puts
Oh,
everyone down in a trench.
Interesting. Very interesting.
But
Or is it a pit?
or a pit.
Hashtag dumb debates.
Depends on what you believe. Either or.
Mhm.
Could be either thing. Well, coming up today, Michael Brunts will join us on the Huskers. Both football and baseball.
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 Mike Ferrin will be along
Speaking of,
to preview the Major League season, which begins Thursday.
did you see his tweet today? What a very rude tweet. So Nick sent out the lineup
Mhm.
powered by the Rooferys, of course, at John
Mhm.
Higgins Weather Guard. And
Rooferys.
Farron quoted it and said, "We'll see if Josh can name 5 major league players." Exciting stuff.
Go!
Bobby Witt Jr., Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout, Aaron Judge, Zach Greinke.
Wow. Wow.
Look
You
at
had
that.
to think about the fourth one.
No, the 5th one. I was just
Oh,
trying
the
to figure
fifth
out which
one.
one I wanted to go with.
Oh, yeah,
I
that's
know
what it was.
so many.
I
Yeah.
noticed the
And
first
you wouldn't have
3
had
were ones
Bob-
we had just talked about.
Exactly.
Bryce
That's a great
Harper.
point. All right, name 5 other Major League Baseball players. Go.
Bryce Harper. Who is the guy who played for the Cubs that you really like? Baez, bitches. What do I need now? 3 more?
You need 3 more.
Crap. Clayton Kershaw. Who's the pitcher that the Mets just got that has the different colored eyes? I can't remember his name. Alex Gordon's retired. I saw him at a brewery last year. See, when you put me on the spot like this, what
Would
do I
you
need
like
to
a
do?
hint?
No. I'll get this. We need 2 more.
You need
Need
2
two
more.
more.
2 more. Gosh, what
You
was
actually
the
have to
play?
name them.
Yeah, the guy who was on the Red Sox and is now on the Dodgers. He has a fun name. What is his name? Why am I struggling with this so much?
Because
This is what happens when you have things.
I wish Farron were here right now
I know.
to
Well,
enjoy all
I
of
just
this.
got 8 names, so I'm good. I got 8 names.
I got 8 names. You don't even have enough to field a team.
Yeah,
You
this is
don't
like-
even have
this is
enough
like
to field a
This is like
team.
the Sandlot. This is like the Sandlot. They didn't have enough players until Small showed up.
What about Tatis?
Oh, Fernando Tatis. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
one.
but he's injured.
Who
I'm
was I
talking-
thinking? Oh, Mookie Betts. There we go.
Oh,
That's who I
congratulations.
was thinking of.
What a name.
The pitcher you were looking for was Max Scherzer.
Max Scherzer. That's the guy.
Yeah, I know him.
him.
Known him a long time.
Trevor Bauer. People hate that guy. There you go. Now I'm at 11.
He's not
Is he still
really-
playing? No, he's not. Is he playing? What's going
No.
on with old Trevor?
No, he's see, unlike football, who as soon as there was a whiff that he might be able to play, teams were pining to get Deshaun Watson. Trevor Bauer a little more problematic.
Oh, Aroldis Chapman. Speaking
More
of problematic,
problematic?
is he still playing?
Aroldis Chapman is still playing.
Who is he? What team is he on?
He's still with the Yankees, I believe.
Is he really?
I believe
He's
so.
back with the Yankees.
Back with the Yankees.
Interesting.
Pretty sure. I don't think. Yeah, he didn't get moved.
And that
A lot of guys
segment is
moved on this
Josh
year.
names baseball players.
I appreciate you not just looking at the screen.
That would have been cheating.
Well, yeah, he would have looked and said Rucker and Lowe, and I would have said Rucker who
yeah,
and Lowe.
well, yeah,
who?
because you're not a diehard baseball
Rob?
fan. Oh, I was gonna say Zach
No,
Lowe.
it's Nathaniel Lowe.
Oh, it's not Rob Lowe.
It's Nathaniel Lowe
Hmm.
of your Texas Rangers, who are losing to the Cubs right now in the second to the last spring training game. Oh, and we have Tiger Woods on the program today.
What, Nick? Wow, what a get! What a get!
Well, he owed it to us because we were the ones that initially broke the story last week that he was still on the entry list.
True. Thank you, Tiger, for joining the show. Jordan says Satan just ate Josh's soul. He didn't even get to 6. Wow, that could have been dangerous.
Could have.
That was almost pop all over the place.
Whoa.
That was close.
Yes, it could have. Also some spring, let's see. Oh, yeah, spring game stuff. And
Cool.
yeah, I know. We're all going to be very excited for spring game stuff.
Can't wait.
No, we should. We should be. That and way too early for top 25 lists.
Oh, the Blue Jays.
Boy, they were out there last
Ooh,
night.
baby. Dude, the game ended.
We used to wait until at least the next day. There are people putting out their way too early top 25 lists, and North Carolina's body wasn't even cold yet. They hadn't even put him to bed.
As Jim Nantz biffed the last call of the game last night, people were already sending out those stories. You see that final call? He struggled last night. Old Nancy did.
Well, that's because
Masters.
that's because it wasn't a foregone conclusion who was going to win, and thus he didn't get a chance to get out his cute Nancism about, and Toto doesn't live in Kansas anymore, but the national championship does.
The one that I laughed the hardest at last night, he was talking about North Carolina and how they gave up that big run to Baylor. He was like, yeah, they gave up a 13-8 run. And I'm like, it's not that big of a run. And then he was like,
gave up a 13-8 run.
No, 8-30. And then he finally got it out. He meant 38-13 run. I think his head is just in Augusta. He was not thinking about basketball.
Well, yeah, because it's a tradition unlike any other. And now his good buddy is going to be playing, apparently.
Freddie Couples?
No, Tiger.
Oh, Tiger. Okay.
It's all about the ratings.
What? Oh, that's the one.
That would be the one. There's not another Tiger. Can you imagine if somebody else, because Tiger was a big deal 25 years ago when he first, burst onto the scene. I'm sure somebody out there named their son Tiger.
That's true.
I'm surprised we haven't had another Tiger come along and play professional golf. Can you imagine if there were another Tiger out there? People would be so triggered.
Well, it was like a few years ago, Dwight Howard started calling himself Superman, and Shaq got really mad at it. He's like, I was Superman. You can't say that. Yeah. It's hilarious. Indeed.
But seriously, I'm surprised there's not another Tiger out on the tour somewhere.
It'll happen soon enough, I'm sure.
You would think it would have happened by now.
Yeah, I guess that's true. You're right.
Maybe there'll just be another Eldrick.
Maybe.
Well, we'll hear from Eldrick coming up later on in the program. 402-951-1620. John at 1620thezone.com or Josh at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank inbox. At Equitable, we take bank personally answer the vote on the first ring. And we only talk golf when we're talking about Arnold Palmer because that's how old we are. His old man Doug at Equitable. And JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed at USC 1620. Back with more in a moment on 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone is easy to hear anywhere. On air, online, and on social media. Wherever you are, we are. 1620 The Zone.
At Baker's, fresh groceries are our thing, so we check your delivery order for freshness at every step from farm to store and pick and pack every veggie in your free pickup order with care because we treat your food the way we'd want ours to be treated. We're fresh every day, so shop anyway. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Free pickup on orders of $35 or more. Restrictions may apply.
And right now, you can save when you shop your faves. Just buy 6 or more participating sale items and save 50 cents each with your card. Baker's, fresh for everyone.
Police officers know it only takes a few seconds of someone texting and driving for things to go terribly wrong. That's why officers are increasing enforcement of texting and driving laws. So put your phone down when driving, or be prepared for the consequences. You drive, you text, you pay. Paid for by NHTSA.
As the world faces the challenges of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, Lions recognize that kindness matters now more than ever. And Lions and Leos are finding ways to continue to serve our communities, including ordering food delivery for healthcare workers, holding story time for children online, and providing surgical masks to medical professionals and first responders. Empowering us to do more, Lions Club's International Foundation has provided nearly $2.5 million in grant funding for COVID-19 relief. And that support continues to grow. For more than 100 years, in times of need, Lions always find a way to help those around them. And after we emerge from this, we will be stronger than ever. Visit lionsclubs.org to learn more.
Are you tired of living with chronic pain, knee pain, joint pain? Listen carefully, because now there are new treatments available. I'm not talking surgery or steroids. These are regenerative treatments from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Hey, this is Damon Benning. QC Kinetics is the leader in these exciting biological therapies that help restore and repair damaged tissue in joints with lasting results. If you've got a pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back, joint pain that won't go away, you need to check out these new treatments with astonishing patient satisfaction reports. They can actually help your body restore and repair itself. No downtime, no drugs, no surgery. That is right in my wheelhouse. Call now to schedule your free consultation at QC Kinetics, 402-205-4960. You need to learn more about how biological therapies are changing the way you think about dealing with joint pain. It's exciting stuff. Don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics, 402-205-4960. That's 402-205-4960.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
This is Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
We had dueling polls
On 1620 The Zone.
So last night, Sam Viceni, who writes for the NBA on The Athletic, tweeted out a screenshot of the odds that Creighton currently had for winning next year's national championship, and it was plus 10,000, which is 100 to 1 in gambling parlance, and just with the words "I am ready." And of course, a lot of Jays fans retweeted that. They thought, haha, that's pretty funny. And then just a few minutes later,
did they think it was funny, or did they think this is pretty sweet that somebody?
Well, that too, but it was funny too. And then he tweeted out about 10 minutes later, hope you got all in when I tweeted this, because Creighton to win the 2023 title is already down to 66 to 1 from the 100 to 1 shown here.
Oh, that moved fast.
And right now on the FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code 1620.
Hell yeah.
It's 40 to 1.
Whoa.
So it's continued to move down.
This is a team. I am really interested to see how they handle those expectations, because correct me if I'm wrong. Like, there was an excitement, a curious excitement, maybe is how I would describe it, about the last Doug McDermott team.
Mm-hmm.
There was definitely excitement about the Mo Watson, Marcus Foster, and eventually we realized too Justin Patton season. But they got into the top 10. They didn't start in the top 10.
Right.
And this last year, obviously.
Well, remember 2 years ago
what
they started.
were they in the preseason? Let's see.
I believe they were.
Were they in the
number
top 10?
8?
Let's see. 2020, 2021.
I believe they were number 8.
The AP shows them as number 11, and they very quickly, they were number 8 when they traveled to Kansas.
Okay.
So yeah, this is going to be in the same neighborhood, hanging out as that one did. If not, maybe even a little bit higher, because
possibly
that group, of course, well, the program hadn't made it yet to the Sweet 16, and now they have. And so this is going to be kind of that, all right, now how much further can they go? They're going to be on obviously they already are, but they're going to be on a lot of those lists and in a lot of those conversations going into the season.
Well, what's interesting is, so they were a top 15 preseason top 15 team 2 years ago, the team that went to the Sweet 16. And yet there is nobody in the regular starting lineup from that team just 2 years ago on this team.
Yeah.
And it's not like they went out and got a boatload of transfers. In fact, the two significant transfers they've got only played the last year or two,
Mm-hmm.
so they're not even back. so really they're doing it on the strength of all the young freshmen who came in this past season. And, I saw some of the too early for preseason top 25s, and some of them put the caveat on there of, if they, this is, also dependent on whether or not they can land another shooter or two in the transfer portal, blah, blah, blah. And we talked to Mac, what was it, last week or 2 weeks ago?
A couple weeks ago.
When he signed his new deal, that, right now they're kind of prioritizing a backup center for Ryan Kalkbrenner. But certainly wouldn't rule out the possibility of adding another shooter in the lineup at some point.
And think about, too, if I would have told you, John, in October that the Ryan Hawkins loss would be as big as it is, I think a lot of us would have been surprised about that. Like, it's not even just like a body you're replacing. It's a lot of production and, and leadership and all
leadership.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff that you're replacing now, after the season that he had with Creighton.
But pretty exciting, for a Jays fan, that there's going to be that kind of anticipation for the upcoming season. What was really weird was the paths of the two national championship teams, men's and women's basketball, South Carolina's women and the Kansas men.
Mm-hmm.
The South Carolina women, en route to winning the national championship, defeated Miami, North Carolina, and Creighton. Those were three of the teams.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas eliminated Miami, North Carolina, and Creighton.
Crazy.
They both did.
That's crazy. Royce shares a stat on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Creighton is on track for a second preseason top 10 team in 3 seasons with none of the same starting 5 from year 1 through 3. No 5-star recruits, no one and dones, and no freshmen across either lineup. That is insane.
It is.
It
It is when you think about it.
Yeah, it's pretty different from a lot of other stuff. Blake emails in, I already have plans to be in Des Moines for the first weekend, Kansas City the second weekend, and Houston for the Final Four. I don't know if there was a little tongue-in-cheek in there at all, but if John, if they're like in that conversation, the locales of next year's first and second weekends, oh boy.
Yeah.
Opportunities, man.
Yeah. Des Moines is hosting first and second round, and Kansas City is hosting a regional.
Yeah. 2 hours away, 3 hours away.
Yeah. No,
Incredible opportunity.
If it works out, absolutely.
Yeah.
If it works out, it could be an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, you don't get these very often where both of them are that close to you.
Yeah. Mina's triggered about the whole Kansas thing.
Kansas fan Mina.
Yeah. I read the Norlander article. It makes little sense at all, and I question who his source is. Also, what the devil is his line of thinking that Self would retire or look to the NBA? He opined that it's a possibility, but he wasn't saying it was going to happen.
Yeah.
The infractions have been sent to the IRP arbitration panel, and those people are either tangentially involved in sports or lawyers with nothing to do with the NCAA. Much of the case, and KU has a strong case for what? I mean, let's face it. I mean, a lot of the stuff was already done by the NBA, or I'm sorry, by the NBA, by the FBI.
Oh, what are you saying?
Kansas
will be fun.
Now we can argue whether or not it's really worth pursuing anymore. But in terms of what was actually pursued, it's pretty cut and dry. Yeah, Kansas was doing some stuff under the table they shouldn't have been doing, but doing stuff under the table that damn near everybody else.
I was going to say, there are dozens of us.
So
I love the email title too. Baseless.
It's baseless. It's all baseless. Well, it is now. They should have just waited a couple of years and it all would have been legal.
That's true. You could have done it now.
Instead of worrying about Adidas bagmen, Adidas just announced here in the last couple of weeks that they're doing this giant, NIL thing with all of their member schools, of which Kansas is one. You just should have waited.
By the way, speaking of
just
collectives,
wait.
David Ubben of The Athletic, he'll join us on Thursday,
the
4 o'clock hour, to talk more about them. Looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah.
How about collectives?
A lot of money. Collectives. A politically correct way of saying bagman.
Hell yeah. I think we should just call them bagmen again.
I'm for that.
Bagman does sound cooler.
When you go to the store and you buy something, what do they ask you? Do you want a bag? You're like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'll take a bag, man.
New policy here on the program. No longer called collectives.
Bagmen.
Bagmen.
I love it. It sounds more fun anyway. Collectives,
We can even call them big bag men because there's many of them.
on many sides.
Big bag men.
Collective sounds like a bad organization, but bagmen just sounds like some henchmen.
There you go. There you. Wow, Nick, pro murder.
No, henchmen don't murder.
In fact, I think we should start our own collective and call it paper or plastic.
I
Get
love
it?
that idea.
Get it?
I love that
Get
idea.
it? Get it?
Or
Bags.
canvas bag, reusable bags.
Or reusable.
Well, yeah, but they don't ask for that in the grocery store.
Yeah,
they
'cause you
usually
have to
just
have
ask
them
paper or
yourself. Yeah,
plastic.
That's fair.
Yeah. So we'll just call it paper or plastic.
I like this.
And our logo will be a wad of cash wrapped up in a plastic bag.
This is awesome. This is great.
It's a great idea.
Look at us.
Now, the problem is we'd actually have to have some money to give.
I don't.
I don't either.
I'm broke.
Let's get some bagmen then.
Yeah. There you go. We need some bagmen
Boom.
for our bagmen.
There you go.
And then we'll be fine. We'll be
Paper.
all set.
Paper or plastic, folks.
Well, coming up next, before we get to Michael Bruntz, Tiger Woods
He's a human.
is definitely a human.
Not a tiger.
No.
Or woods.
And we will find out this weekend just how human he is as he tries to come back from the massive leg injury suffered less than 14 months ago, as he tries to make his comeback in, of all places, the Masters.
Indeed.
On CBS 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Email Sharp and Benning on the Equitable Bank inbox with your love, your hate, whatever your hot takes are. We're here for you. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
If there's one thing that you can count on every spring, it's that we're going to have to deal with some hail. J-Tech Construction is the company to call to make it right again. J-Tech Construction specializes in siding, roofing, windows, and gutters, even solar. They're trained for insurance claims assistance, and they can help with your insurance company. Turn to the team the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Use your favorite search engine to find J-Tech Construction online and schedule a free estimate today.
At Dingman's, our first priority is protecting your safety. We are here to be your personal advocate to ensure you receive safe, proper repairs by the highest skilled technicians in the industry. Vehicle technology is changing faster than ever. Performing manufacturer repair procedures is just one way we ensure your vehicle will be returned to you as safe as it was when you bought it. Visit our website at dingmans.com or stop in to experience the Dingman difference for yourself. At Dingman's, we would rather be the best than apologize for anything less.
Our annual 42 Degrees Spring Sale continues with some great pricing on Kratom, CBDs, Delta 8 products, and a whole lot more. Want to know what CBDs, Kratom, and Delta 8 products can do for you? Then stop by any of our convenient locations. Talk with the most knowledgeable and friendliest staff, and you'll see why we are the source for so many of your needs, like pipes, vaporizers, candles, incense, and a whole lot more. 42 Degrees, your source by your mom's house.
What does the 50th anniversary of Title IX mean? It means I'm valued, I'm empowered, I can do anything. It means I'll pave the way for every girl who plays high school sports in the future, just like every female student, coach, official, and administrator blaze the trail for me. Because every student deserves the opportunity to play. Encourage girls you know to participate in Nebraska high school sports.
This message presented by the NSAA and the Nebraska State Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Whoa, Greg's up.
He's never up this early.
Hey, guys. Okay, so this is called a Bell Breakfast Box from Taco Bell.
Oh, thanks. I can read. And that's a coffee. Helps you open your eyes.
And that's a breakfast burrito. You can start from either end.
You guys always this condescending in the morning? Pretty much.
Wake up with the new $5 Bell Breakfast Box, filled with a grande toasted breakfast burrito, hash brown, 2 Cinnabon Delights, and a coffee. At limited participating Taco Bell locations near you during breakfast hours only. Contact local store for prices, hours, and participation, which vary. Tax extra. Drinks excludes freezes.
Car repair is car repair. Most places you go can change your oil or fix your brakes. The difference is the experience you'll get at Omaha Car Care. We're part of the community. We were born here, and we believe that our relationship with you should be built to last. We're going to consult you, not sell you. We're going to give you a free loaner car. We're going to treat you like a valued friend that we want to continue to see in the years to come. I'm Rick Betker, owner of Omaha Car Care, and we'll be along for the ride.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
Welcome back. 402-951-1620. So last week we had fun with the notion that Tiger Woods was still listed on the list of players who were slated to play in the Masters. He hadn't taken himself off of the list. They just put it out there on the website.
Put him on the list.
Some of the retired champions.
Hey, who's the really old guy that we found? That
I can't.
Not
I'd
playing.
have to look
Ernest Burnist or something.
Yeah, it was pretty old.
Arnold
Pretty old.
Darn.
Arnold Darn.
But he's still like 99. He's the oldest living Masters champion. But
I
he
still
was
think
he
he
was
should
on
play.
the he should.
That'd be awesome.
He absolutely should.
Yeah, bring him back for an honorary tee shot.
Jack Burke Jr.
Jack Burke Jr.
Thank you. Nick.
98.
98 years old.
Man, the 20s.
At the very least, why don't they have him doing the little ceremonial pitch and
Probably
putt
because nobody
t-shirt?
knows who he is.
I'm scared for him
Which
to
is
swing a
too
club.
bad the man won the
Yeah,
Masters.
John,
I thought
he
this was
might-
a major.
He might die.
He'd
if
pop
he
a
swung,
hip.
Yeah, if he swung a golf club, he might murder himself. Oh,
Okay,
no, he
let's not
committed
make
suicide.
let's not make it sound like it's that arduous to swing a stick. Come on, he could
It's
go
the-
out there and swing a
It's
stick.
the momentum.
Yeah,
It's
John.
the down. Is that the downswing?
Yeah, sure, Nick. We can call it down.
There are
I'm
probably
not a golfer.
98-year-olds that golf better than you do.
Hell yeah, there are. Not Arnest Barnest or whatever.
Arnest Barnest. Jack Burke Jr.
Jack Burke Jr. My bad.
Arnest
At
Barnest.
least Arnold Darnold is close.
Jeez.
Arnest Barnest.
Arnest
My favorite golfer.
Barnest.
I love that guy.
Well, with one little statement, the golf world
Oh, it was a flutter.
said, oh, the flutter.
Well, as of right now, I feel like I am going to play. As of right now.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt Tiger.
Jeez.
I apologize. Let's do it again.
Well, as of right now, I feel like I am going to play. As of right now.
Nice. What a time to be alive.
Yeah. what a time to
Modern
be
medicine,
alive.
John. Pretty cool.
And then he was asked,
You've said countless times throughout your career that you don't enter a golf tournament unless you think that you can win it. So the question is simple. Do you think you can win the Masters this week?
I do.
See, we talked about that last week, that he would not participate. And we didn't couch it in those terms, but more, he wouldn't go out there just to go out there.
no, he's not going out there
he
to be a
thinks-
ceremony.
Yeah, like Arnest Barnes.
Like Arnest Barnest.
He thinks he can go out there and compete.
I love
and
that
play.
confidence.
And yeah, I do too. It's what
So
you,
good.
It's what you want to have. It's what you want to have.
Well, it's part of what made Tiger Tiger. So, how would you define, though, a successful week at Augusta? Because, to a degree, haven't you already been successful?
The fact that I was able to get myself here to this point is a success. And now that I am playing, now everything is focused on how do I get myself into a position where I'm on that back nine on Sunday with a chance, just like I did, a few years ago.
I'm glad he said that.
Me too, man.
Because I think, especially in his earlier days, he wasn't known for showing a lot of humility or humanity just being human. He was such a robot. He was such a machine. And part of that was what made him great. But it was also the part of it that, made some folks go, really? What is it about this guy? But I'm glad, with age and experience, and unfortunately he's had a lot of rather interesting experiences, that it has brought more of that out of him, that he can at least, he can in the same breath acknowledge, hey, what I'm doing on Thursday is already an accomplishment. And I don't think I have the clip here, but he was kind of describing what the early days of his recovery was like. He was in the hospital for 3 months. Man. Can you imagine a guy like Tiger, who has been all around the world and in normal
Always moving.
and on normal times, always moving, always doing things. If he's
Always
not
competing.
golfing or competing, he's traveling, he's making deals, he's everywhere, right? To be cooped up, laid up in a hospital for almost 3 months. Had to be extremely frustrating
Yeah, depressing
for
imagine.
him.
Yeah. I'm with you. I thought that at the beginning of that answer, again, and people have said this about him over the last 4 or 5 years, like a different version of Tiger. That was not something I think he would have said a decade ago. I don't think that he would
I
have
don't know if he would have
acknowledged
said
that.
it 5 years ago.
And it makes me think of discussions that you and I have had about like our favorite teams, where you go into a season and maybe you have an expectation, and they play well above that expectation. And then at a certain point, it does kind of shift, right? Where you're like, well, I mean, hey, if they're 13-3, why not dream of a Super Bowl? Why not dare to dream? And so for him, I liked that, acknowledging, hey, the first goal was to play. It was to compete. Now he feels like he is at that level. As of right now, I feel like I'm going to play. If you're going to play, why not then push the expectations a little bit higher and say, hey, it's not just about being here. It's not just about walking a couple days. It's about making it all 4 days and being in contention at the end. I love the attitude.
Obviously, the comparisons have been drawn and will continue to be drawn to Ben Hogan, who back in the 1950 was in a terrible car accident, similar to Tiger, messed up his back, messed up a lot, and then courageously fought back and won the next year's U.S. Open. And Woods compared his situation. He was asked about the situation between his and Ben Hogan's.
What he went through pre-round, obviously he didn't have the technology that we have now, but the amount of hot tubs that he'd have to take, pre-round, post-round, in the middle of the night, just to be able to get up and swing a club the next day, I certainly appreciate that. And, the treatments have gotten so much better, and I'm very thankful for that. Because if the treatments hadn't gotten any, if I had to go through it, with my accident, given what had happened to me during his era, I wouldn't be playing this week. That's for sure.
That's a fascinating response. And, I said that a couple minutes ago, modern medicine. And I mean, he hits on it right there. It's obviously true. It's a different era, different times, for better and for worse in a lot of ways, but in this case, for him, for better. And that's a really good thing.
What is amazing with the different back surgeries that he has had, that this accident didn't appear to, I mean, it was the bulk of the damage was the leg.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very severe. But that he didn't mess up something else in the process, or at least to the point, because really the concern right now isn't with him being able to swing a golf club. If this were a situation, I'm trying to remember the young man's name. I think it was it Casey Martin, about 25, 30 years ago. There was a big controversy because he had a leg issue and he wanted to ride
the cart.
golf.
Yeah.
If this were a situation where he could ride a golf cart, there's nothing physically wrong with him being able to function as a golfer. The question this week will be, can he make the walk?
Yeah.
Up to 4 times.
Does he have the fitness? Does he have the fitness level where he, like you said, can he do
And
it
it's not
twice?
even, I don't even know if it's fitness. It's just being able to tolerate it because he's got all this metal in his leg. I mean, he's basically got a bionic leg. But that the rest of him didn't get screwed up to the point that it affects his actual, and I'm sure there's probably some things mechanically, with the swing that have been affected because of the damage to the leg. But from all intent that at least I could glean, and from reading and listening to the press conference, the question with Tiger isn't that he can swing a golf club. The question is whether he can walk the course.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bigger question.
That's what we wondered about last week when this news first came out. The first thing that I thought of was, can he make the walk? Because it is a very hilly course. It's not flat.
Well, on that spot, he was asked if there were going to be some spots that he was going to try to avoid, spots even in the fairway that he would try to avoid. In other words, play the course differently to make the walk easier for him.
If I'm in the fairway, it's all good. So the only flat spots here, as we know, are the 18 tee boxes. Other than that, there's nothing flat about this place. And if I have to worry about it being in 14 fairways, I'll take that any day.
There you go. That's a good plan. I'm just gonna hit in the fairway every time. It's a great idea. I should do that next time I go out and play. You know what? Fairways only today. I'm annoyed with the rough. It's kind of boring.
It's a good
over there.
idea.
Yeah, for sure.
This was kind of a sobering answer. He was asked about, in terms of the total recovery, how he feels now, and is this as good as he's ever going to feel?
My movement probably will not get much better. Will I feel better? Yes, I will. I'm going to get stronger, and the whole limb will get stronger. But as far as movement, I probably not much more. I'm so limited with the hardware in there. I won't get much more.
I mean, plus he's getting older anyway.
Yeah, he's getting older.
Getting close to 50.
And then,
man,
finally, obviously, he has gone through physical ailments before. He's played through injury before. He's played through leg injuries before, famously at the U.S. Open. On being able to draw from those experiences as he tries to make this walk through Augusta.
I feel like I still have the hands to do it. The body's moving good enough. I've been in worse situations and played at one tournaments. Now, haven't been in situations like this where I've had to walk and endure. What I'm going to try and endure, that's going to be different. It's a different challenge. But my back surgeries that I've had before and the stuff I had to play through. Even going back to the U.S. Open when my leg was a little bit busted, those are all times that I can draw upon that I was successful. How I've learned how to block things out and focus on what I need to focus on, and that's certainly going to be the challenge this week.
Adam writes in, I think Tiger is the biggest sandbagger in the world now. He's always trying to set expectations low. He wouldn't be there if he wasn't healthy and didn't think he could win. He's just setting the bar low by saying that success is the fact that he is playing in the Masters. And look, there's probably a large degree of truth to that, where you set the expectations low and then you perform a lot better, and it adds to the legend. But I will say I don't think he wants to go out there and embarrass himself, and so I think he's going to perform well. I think he's going to make the cut. I think he'll be playing on Saturday and Sunday. The one thing that I do worry about, is what he I think worries about the most, and that's, can he walk it? Can he walk this thing for 4 days? Can he walk this thing for 2 days? It's going to be fascinating to watch. It really will be.
The Masters probably did him a little bit of a favor. I don't know if it was intentional or not. But he's going to be out. He's going to be the 14th group out on Thursday, teeing off at 9:30 Omaha time.
Okay.
With Louis Oosthuizen and Joaquin Niemann of Chile. Never heard of Joaquin before. But that's the trio. And then on Friday,
it'll be later.
It'll flip, and he will be, I believe,
12:40. I think is what you,
yeah, or 12:41. Yeah, 12:41 Omaha time on Friday. And the reason I say they may have done him a break, so his first round will be earlier. He'll have a little more time to recover.
Rather than if you flipped it, where you
tee off later Thursday and then earlier on Friday.
Yeah.
So whether or not that, factors in, I don't know. Current on the board at FanDuel Sportsbook, he is 48-1. He's roughly 20. What is that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 18. It's about 25th on the list.
Okay. To make the top 10, he's plus 360. To make the top 5, he is plus 750. So if you're not even thinking about just a win, but maybe just, a legit, competing, that's what you can look at.
Right.
Promo code 1620.
Promo code 1620. Mm-hmm. John Hram is your favorite currently.
Yeah, what is he?
12-1.
12-1.
12-1.
Okay.
Is where they are right now.
Awesome.
So you get the biggest storyline. It'll be the absolute biggest storyline of the week. I'll be curious to see if coverage changes to adjust to it.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, ESPN Plus will have the different, groupings. They'll have the Amen Corner cameras. They'll have the featured group of the day. I've got to imagine he'll be in the featured group of the day. Naturally, the traditional coverage on ESPN will be heavy on Tiger for sure as the day goes on.
Especially on Friday.
Especially on Friday.
Because Friday will tee off at 12:40, and so the coverage will begin at 12 o'clock or at 2 o'clock our time on ESPN. So, I mean, almost this whole round, will be on
a good
ESPN.
chunk of it anyway.
Nick, we need a sports flash.
Wow, they've suspended Kansas already, have they?
Sports flash.
Time for an unsportsmanlike conduct sports flash update.
Sports flash.
From the Sports Flash Sports Desk.
Big 12 Commissioner Bob Bowlesby is retiring later this year, which, is this the biggest news in the world? No, but he has been heavily involved in the discussions, of course, surrounding the college football playoff expansion. Important name. He did a much better job than his predecessor did. That's for damn sure. Sports flash. And he's stepping away later this year. A decade running the league. Sports flash.
So the question will be, will Bob Bowlesby outlast Texas and Oklahoma?
Sports flash. Great question.
Because there's chance.
Sports flash.
Texas and Oklahoma could still be around even after this year. Because they have not given their notice yet that they've given their notice they're leaving, but
save the date. But they don't know the date yet.
But they don't know the date yet because they're still trying to figure out, that whole grant of rights thing because they're locked up for the next couple of years.
Indeed.
So Bob Bowlesby leaving the Big 12.
Indeed.
Well, we'll see. And the timing of that's interesting because does Texas and Oklahoma get a vote? They're still members of the conference.
Fascinating. This is also weird. I know that there's been a lot written about the conference lately and what's going to happen next, but there is a possibility that the four new teams are going to join, and Texas and Oklahoma will still be there, and so they'll randomly have these years with 14 teams.
Right, and they have to figure out how to work around that.
It's just so odd. But look, I get the Big 12 saying, no, we're not going to allow you to leave unless you pay the hefty fine.
You got to pay the fee.
And it's expensive.
You got to pay the fee.
Yeah.
Coming up next, Michael Brunts will join us, and we'll talk Nebraska spring game and the resurgence of Nebraska baseball next on 1620 The Zone.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis. We just spent a entire segment talking about the tournament this weekend. Don't forget about the Masters Madness Scramble coming up on Saturday. Only 4 days away, 10 a.m. shotgun start, 2-person scramble, $160 per team. You're going to get fed. You'll have tee gift prizes, not to mention you will get to golf with a cart, unlike Tiger Woods down in Augusta. Great GPS on that, and you'll get to play the course as well. Going to be a great time, and you'll also get to pick a pro. So perhaps you could pick Tiger Woods, or maybe end up with somebody else and have an awesome time in the weather. It really is looking good this weekend and beyond. So give them a call at 402-498-0220. Find out about the available tee times. Ask them about maybe a weekly get-together that you could put together for the office, friends, whatever it is, inside the Top Tracer building, out there on the course. They do a great job for those big group gatherings. Golf Flash will be back there later on this summer. So if you're thinking of a office get-together, bachelor or bachelorette parties, no better place to do it than at Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis. They're located just north of Dodge on 120th Street. Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis.
Your Omaha area forecast from Knoyer Garden Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Breezy day on the way Tuesday. South winds will gust 20 to 30 miles per hour and turn to the west in the afternoon. There is a chance for a few spotty showers in the late morning and early afternoon, otherwise mostly cloudy with highs in the low 60s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct, brought to you by a great friend of the program, Union Bank and Trust.
Guys, let's face it, there is a time when you just need to get out of the house, to have your own place, to be with the guys, or just a quiet, relaxing place for yourself. Well, Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge hears you loud and clear. Settle in. Escape to Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge for an incredible selection plus premium cocktails, a knowledgeable, friendly staff, state-of-the-art humidor, and incredible lounge. Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, just off I-680 at 48th Street next to Covey's.
Marvin Windows has long been known for their lasting value and beauty. Karp's Complete Home Exteriors is Omaha's first authorized Marvin Windows replacement contractor. For a free estimate, call Carps Complete Home Exteriors or visit carpsomaha.com.
Hey guys, spring is here and the honeydew list has begun. If you're getting ready to clean up your yard, Lanahaw is your one stop for all landscape needs. Buy your mulch at Lanahaw Nurseries. Best quality at the best price. Convenient delivery or pickup. Lanahaw Nurseries, 192nd and Center.
Hi again, everybody. Kent Pavelka, courtside, getting ready for this year's roofing season from the Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard, America's leading installer of Da Vinci roofs and roofs of all styles. We're expecting another year filled with good sportsmanship, fairness, and integrity. Make the right call with John Higgins Weather Guard, providing the highest level of customer service with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. It's tip-off time with the Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Brookside Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? Well, we have a major medical advancement that has helped thousands of men. The WAVE technology at Brookside Medical was tested by Cambridge University and the Cleveland Clinic, and the results are in. It's proven to increase blood flow by repairing blood vessels. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED by treating the root cause, call us now, and not only will the assessment and blood flow ultrasound be free, we'll also include something unique that produces immediate results in the bedroom. This is a $600 value, free to those that call in the next 2 minutes. 402-671-7777. That's 402-671-7777. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Brookside Medical Clinic now to qualify. 402-671-7777.
You're listening to Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Stupidest thing I've ever heard.
The 1620, The Zone.
Here's a story of a man named Brunsey who covers Husker sports, boys and girls, like football and basketball, even weightlifting, like front squats and curls. Then one day, good old Brunsey called a talk show, and acting on what they thought was a hunch, John and Josh wanted to start a family. And now we get to talk to Michael Brunts. It's Michael Brunts. Michael Brunts. Now we get to talk to Michael Brunts.
You know, I just realized something.
What's that?
With the addition of Mike Ferrin on his regular Tuesday slot, we're going to have now 2 Mike Stibbs sung opens on the same day.
Oh, within the span of like a half hour.
Yeah.
How exciting.
Yeah. Well,
How do you feel about that, Brunts?
I'm okay with it. I'll allow it.
Okay.
Good. Well, that's good. I'm happy that you're allowing it.
Your tweet or your retweet over the weekend, I was in the middle of doing a baseball game. The one from John Heyman about the Athletics payroll matching that of 1991. I mean, I did a triple take. I was like, there's no way this could be accurate. No way this could be accurate.
It's accurate.
It's real and it's not spectacular. Well, Brunts, how about the fact that the Moneyball team, we looked it up yesterday, the 0-2 team had a higher payroll than this one.
It's remarkable, and that number would fall even further if they could somehow find a way to deal opening day starter Frankie Montas in the next 48 hours. So they may not be done yet, but the great part too, that not only did they slash payroll, but they also managed to double season ticket prices this year. So there's that.
That's really nice.
Good grief. What?
Yeah, it's like it feels a lot like the start of Major League. Like
it does.
They're trying to move the team somewhere. So I don't know. It's very frustrating. It's funny too. I follow quite a few A's fans, longtime A's fans on Twitter, and there's a lot of rage out there.
Oh, I can only imagine. You know, the tagline or the slogan has been rooted in Oakland. This year they've changed
their hashtag.
No, it's not their hashtag, but it's like their slogan, right?
What's the new one?
This year is come experience the raw sewage, and then in parentheses, and we're not talking about the ballpark either.
Well, it used to be green collar baseball too, and now it's probably going to be blue collar baseball because they're probably having to run plumbers and HVAC guys out there this year.
I mean, honestly, if they could figure out a way to get us three on their roster, I think that they might actually try to do it. We'd be on the cheap.
Yeah, I don't.
Well,
I'd do it for 1/33 of their total payroll.
Yeah, why not?
They had made a big deal out of these three guys making the roster this week, and it was like I had to look up who they were. It's like three journeyman guys that you never even heard of before. So lots to look forward to with baseball beginning.
Yeah,
Yep.
Bruns was ready to go back to the lockout. He
Yeah.
liked the lockout.
Well, at least, yeah. At least, Michael, the team you cover was a lot better
nice.
this past weekend.
Look at you.
The biggest reason Nebraska swept Ohio State last week was?
Well, they started to hit on Saturday and Sunday. I think Ohio State is maybe a little bit challenged in the pitching department, but I mean, you had Nebraska on Sunday get 13 two-out RBIs. That's noteworthy. I would need to check because that has to be close to probably their total for the entire year to that point. But they seem to be turning the corner a little bit. You got Max Anderson hitting a little bit more, Bryce Matthews hitting a little bit more. Cam Chick was on base 7 times on Sunday, so it was one of those series that it felt like this team kind of needed. I mean, they've had a lot of struggles at the plate, and they were finally able to get some things done there. So we'll see if they can kind of continue that this week. With two pretty good teams they have to face in Omaha, who already took one game off of them, but they went on the road and took care of business like you probably would have hoped that they would have against a team like Ohio State.
Is Ohio State bad?
Well, they were picked to finish 4th in the conference by the conference coaches, but they have struggled worse than Nebraska had leading into that series.
Speaking of, you mentioned Omaha. They're going to face off this week. Sounds like Drew Christo is going to get another crack at it. He's only had 3 appearances this year. What do you anticipate seeing this week?
Yeah, I mean, it with him, it's kind of all about development. I think with him kind of coming to school, obviously a heralded recruit and got a lot of draft attention, but I think for him, it's just a matter of fine tuning an off-speed pitch or something to go with that fastball, because when he's on, I think it's pretty good, but he's been catching a lot of the plate, and it's tough to do that against college hitters. So, I think for him, it's just maybe putting a couple innings together. That's something that he hasn't done to this point in his career, and hopefully, kind of shown that he's taken that next step since his last appearance. But he's a guy that I think needed a little bit more seasoning maybe than what some people expected when he was coming out of high school as a pitcher, and that's not a unique thing either. I think sometimes having an off-speed pitch that you can rely on and having a breaking pitch that you can rely on, you need to kind of have that fine-tune a little bit more when you're facing college hitters.
Brunt, before we get into our line-by-line preview of the spring game, I did want to ask you a quick recruiting question, because I was thinking about Dylan Raiola this morning. There's of course been a lot written and said about him and Nebraska's chances for him or lack of chances for him. Do you think that he is the type of player that, like, if Nebraska does not get him, it is a true disappointment in all of the definitions of that word? Or is he the type of player where, given the state of the program and even with, his uncle as one of the coaches, that they're just kind of happy to be in the mix for a player of his caliber?
I think if the program was on more stable footing, I think that would make it a little bit more disappointing if Nebraska didn't get him. I mean, that's a pretty big piece of the puzzle, I think, when you're looking at some of the schools that Nebraska's recruiting against for him. I mean, when you obviously having a family member on staff, a dad that's an alum, a lot of connections, that really helps. But I mean, I think you need to have some confidence as a recruit that the staff is going to be there for the long haul, that the program you're going to is winning games and winning big games. And I think that's really the biggest deficiency for Nebraska in that conversation. I mean, if Nebraska was, let's say, a 10-2 type team right now, I think they're probably mentioned a little bit more alongside some of the kind of national programs that are in the running for him, the Georgias, the USCs, those types of schools. I think, too, I mean, in all honesty, I think Nebraska is recruiting the heck out of him. I mean, I know that he or the family talks frequently with the Nebraska staff almost daily. So that's not, it's not like this is just, kind of on the back burner right now. I think the fact that Scott Frost went to one of his games on Nebraska's off week last year also kind of speaks to his importance for this program. But I think if things were a little bit more of an equal footing, I think that would kind of raise the level of disappointment if you don't get it. But that to me is a big factor in the Rayola conversation. Can this fall, can you show that things are headed in the right direction and that, you're going to be around for a guy that's not going to play college football for a couple of years?
Should it be concerning in any way? And I know it's only spring, obviously there's time. Some of the injuries that, have kept guys out of this spring aren't going to be in effect in August and September when the season's actually happening. But should there at least be a little concern that Frost at this point isn't comfortable enough with depth to stage a traditional red-white game?
Well, I mean, there's some positions where it is really thin. I mean, the tight end spot, I mean, what is it, 3 or 4 guys?
Yeah.
Back? I mean, that's a legitimate concern. Defensive line, I think, is another concern. Depth-wise, I mean, that aside from injuries, I mean, just depth that can come in and help you in a game, that's a concern there. But, yeah, I mean, it's a little disappointing that you're not going to be able to likely see a full game and a true game. I don't particularly care for the it's almost like the modified Stableford scoring system in spring games where you have like the defensive points and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just kind of a shoulder shrug for me. But I think the depth thing is a little bit more tied to injuries, and it seems like the positions where that there really are concerns, I think you're going to have enough guys back for the fall, so it's not too terrible that's the case. I mean, I would love to see real football, and I guess we'll see something close to it. But yeah, I mean that's just where they're at right now.
Bruns, the Thomas Fidone discussion, I think is it's been hanging over everything for feels like a month at this point, just given that the injury happened before the spring break and there still are no answers. We've asked a couple of people already this week, what are you expecting, and got different responses. What are you expecting, I guess, to happen with him and the 2022 season at this point in time?
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard kind of all over the map on it. I know that people have seen him walking around campus on crutches and with the leg wrap, and I've also heard that might be back for the fall. Might be a long-term thing. I mean, I think a little bit of clarity is probably welcome there. I mean, if you truly don't know the extent of that's kind of odd, I guess, a month in. But yeah, I mean, that this injury more than others, it seems like there's been a little bit more challenging to nail down kind of what exactly is going on there. So, we'll probably see him on the sidelines on Saturday. I think there'll probably be a lot of visual medical doctors weighing in on things with what they see. So, who knows? But maybe we get a little bit more clarity from Scott Frost this week. Because I mean, beyond that, I don't know when his next media appearance will be. Probably maybe June at the next one. So we'll see.
We knew coming in that Trey Palmer was going to be given every opportunity to be the lead punt returner. And of course, famously, Bill Bush talked about, his 3 favorite people are his family, his wife, his kids, and his punt returner. But has the talk surrounding Palmer being perhaps Nebraska's number 1 wide receiver been a little surprising?
A little. I think, that his quickness and his speed has, been well documented. I've been a little bit surprised, I guess, at how it seems like a lot of defensive backs are kind of measuring themselves against Trey Palmer. Like that's the that's the guy that whenever they're lined up across from him, they know they're going to be in for maybe a long day at practice. And I think Trey Palmer is the kind of guy that has that confidence too, that if he beats you, he's going to let you know about it a little bit too. So there's kind of that aspect of it too, in terms of just setting the tone in a wide receiver room. But it's tough with transfers. I mean, you never really know how guys are going to acclimate, how long it's going to take them to get up to speed on things. But I think for a guy like Trey Palmer, the fact that Mickey Joseph is here now, he has that familiarity. You have the comfort of your special teams coach also being familiar to you. I think that all helps. And, with Xavier Betts' situation being what it is, I mean, I think Trey Palmer is going to, get a lot of attention as Nebraska's top wide receiver this fall. I mean, I just think that that's kind of what he's shown so far. And I don't even know, when he was at LSU, if he necessarily got the chance to kind of show what he could do. I mean, I think he could in maybe small spurts, but, when he's going to be in there for the bulk of the time, I mean, I think this is a huge opportunity for him. And I think he's shown this spring that he's worthy of that.
Well, I was reading my ESPN baseball preview, and the good news is the Athletics are not last in the initial power rankings. That honor still goes to Baltimore.
Oh, yeah.
And part of that, too, is because Baltimore's in a division with 4 other teams that could legitimately all win the World Series. So there's a lot of losses in there.
The other thing you have, though, as an Orioles fan, besides a pretty nice hat, you also have the promise on the horizon of top draft picks potentially making the major leagues. So
that's true.
I think long term, they're probably in a better spot.
That is a damn shame. You got 3 teams at the bottom of baseball, the Athletics, the Pirates, and the Orioles, who have some great uniforms.
I mean, we talked about it a couple years ago when I was trying to maybe pick a new favorite team, which is the Royals now. Brunts, by the way, I almost picked the A's because those uniforms are
they're
sexy.
tight. They're very tight.
Tight.
But you got the Pirates. They got a great looking uniform, especially when they bring out the 70s throwbacks with the bright yellow and the stovepipe hat. And the Orioles, you mentioned the hat. I love the orange and black combination, but they all suck.
Sad.
You look good, play like crap.
Yep.
I think that's the old saying, right?
I believe that is. If you look good, you play like crap. I'll be looking forward to watching some A.J. Puck this year, former Florida pitcher and Cedar Rapids native for your Athletics.
Hopefully he can stay on the mound. He's had trouble doing that.
Real quick, if you look good, you play like crap. If you look like crap, you play good. So who's the best team in baseball then? Who has the worst unis?
I'm not a big fan of the Rays uniforms.
That was the first team that popped into my mind.
They're
actually
division,
better than they were.
They've won the division 2 years in a row.
There you go.
I don't like the Marlins uniforms.
Yeah,
I don't like the Marlins, period.
I actually like the old 90s Marlins uniforms better than I do the new ones.
The Braves are fine. I mean, there's like those kind of those uniforms that haven't changed a ton, that they're okay. I mean, I don't know. The Braves are fine.
I'm not a big fan of the Angels uniforms.
Interesting.
Well, I don't like
They're pretty boring.
They need to be more classic with that logo.
Yeah. They go back to the halo on the hat.
Top of the hat.
Oh, the halo on the hat.
Hell yes.
That looks like a giant sweat ring. It looks like everyone's sweating through their hat.
Yeah.
That's what that looks like.
Fair.
Well, Brunsey, we'll wish the best to the Athletics, and at least they won't be any more than 5 games out of first place by the time we talk next week.
Yes, that's true. 69.5 is the win total.
Nice.
Take the unders.
Nice and a half.
Nice and a half.
I love it.
Brunsey, take care. Thanks.
Bye, Bruns.
Thanks, guys.
Michael Brunts of Husker 24/7.
Speaking of baseball.
You know what goes great with baseball?
What?
Beer.
Hell yeah, it does.
You know what even goes better with baseball?
Sunflower seeds.
1620 the beer.
That too.
Sunflower seeds. 1620 the zones. 1620 the beer is available right now at Fernando's on 75th and Pacific and the Crescent Moon on Farnham. Go to 1620thezone.com and submit your vote where you would like to see 1620 the beer. Speaking of baseball, Mike Ferrin will be up here in about 10 minutes or so.
Hell yeah.
Live in the video stream on 1620 the zone.
1620 The Zone is easy to hear anywhere, on air, online, and on social media. Wherever you are, we are. 1620 The Zone.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
Accidents are stressful enough without having to navigate the claims process on your own. This is Darcy with Dingman's Collision Center. Don't be misinformed by others about your legal right to choose your shop. Having a certified repair facility working in your best interest is the only way to trust you receive the safe, proper repairs you deserve. Remember, it's your vehicle, your safety, and it's always your choice. Dingman's is your choice if you are looking for a certified shop that puts the vehicle owner first. At Dingman's, we would rather be the best than apologize for anything less. Dingmans.com.
Searching for your next vehicle? Shop Woodhouse first. Over 1,000 pre-owned vehicles in stock and on our lots, with new trades arriving daily that you can explore on woodhouse.com. Plus, confidence comes standard when you purchase a pre-owned car, truck, or SUV from Woodhouse. With our multi-point inspection, transparent pricing, available add-on warranties, and financing options, purchasing a pre-owned vehicle has never been simpler. Experience the difference and drive away today confident and road-ready in your new vehicle from Woodhouse.
After 30-plus years of delivering lush lawns and beautiful landscapes to the Omaha Metro, we are taking our business to the next level. Hi, this is Chuck Monaco with what used to be CM's Outdoor Solutions, and our never-ending pursuit to bring the absolute best lawn and landscape services to our Omaha neighbors and friends. We've merged with industry pioneer Ryan Lawn and Tree. So what does the new CM's together with Ryan Lawn and Tree mean to you? Even more services delivered at even higher standards with continued local ownership. Unlike other lawn companies, we are 100% employee-owned. That means the people taking care of your lawn, trees, shrubs, irrigation, landscaping, even pest control are company owners, not part-time help. Many CMs and Ryan Pros have college degrees in horticulture, forestry, and turf management. Are you ready for the best lawn and outdoor living spaces you've ever enjoyed? Visit us online for a free estimate at bestomahalawn.com. For a limited time, get your first lawn or pest application free. That's bestomahalawn.com.
The zoo is a great place to visit, but did you know it's also a great place to work? Omaha's Henry Doorly Zoo and Aquarium is currently hiring for a variety of positions, and we think you'll love trying something new. You can spend the day meeting guests, talking to families, and having full access to walk and explore Omaha's Henry Doorly Zoo and Aquarium. To learn more or apply, visit omahazoo.com/work here.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct is brought to you by Union Bank and Trust. Now back to the program.
We were discussing Tiger and his return to the Masters. If you missed it and you've been under a rock, Tiger says he's, as of today, he is playing. Bryson DeChambeau says he's only about 80%. You know, you talk about your popular golfers, you know, people that everyone gravitates to. Bryson DeChambeau, of course, is right there.
Or unpopular, people still gravitate
He
towards
and
him.
Tiger neck and neck.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Was he happy with his clubs, though? That's the important. Wasn't that a whole thing last summer? He was upset about his clubs.
Now, of course, DeChambeau was one of those guys who had signed on to be in this highly controversial Saudi golf league.
Oh, yeah.
He was asked recently about Phil Mickelson, who is not playing in the Masters. And DeChambeau has said he has tried to connect and has heard nothing. I've tried to reach out, but he's gone dark. DeChambeau said there's no contact.
Wow.
He is really like...
You wonder how much of that is Phil's
now.
decision versus... Nice, that's a golf term. Versus how much of that is his, his team, if you will. Team Phil versus how much of this is his decision.
I'm guessing, their handlers are always involved, but I'm guessing a lot of this is him.
You think so?
Because right now he's just trying to stay out of the spotlight for fear that maybe more of his sponsors will ditch him.
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point, I don't think this is going to end him as an active participant, though he is, in his 50s now. So certainly, his competitive days are behind him, or at least his better competitive days are behind him. I know he won a minor major a couple of years ago, but still, I don't think he's done. I just think he's laying low right now to kind of let everything blow over, and then another year passes.
I was going to say, does he play this year? Does he play in a major this year?
I don't think so.
3 more left?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, it's so weird for a guy who's always been in the public spotlight to just disappear.
It really is.
Completely
Especially
disappear.
him. You remember, he was someone who really embraced social media in recent years.
He did.
His fans, I know, really liked that. Fascinating. Email into the Equitable Bank inbox from Terry. Says, hi, Josh. Thanks for the reminder to sign up for T-Mobile Tuesday MLB TV. Now I can watch the Cubs lose 80-plus games. Would have forgotten to sign up without your nudge. There you go. Look at that. Helping Cub fans be sad all year long.
That's right. If you're a T-Mobile customer, you can log on right now and sign up and get a full year of MLB.TV. That's every game. Local markets televised. Now, unless you're in Iowa and, half of baseball is blacked out, then it doesn't do you a lot of good. But if you happen to be like a Dodgers fan or an Angels fan or an Athletics fan in Iowa, you can watch at least most of the games until they play, one of the teams that's blacked
now,
out.
Nick is, of course, a noted Colorado Rockies fan. Are they a blacked out
They
team?
they are not blacked out in Iowa.
What about in Omaha?
Not in Omaha. The only team that is in this market is the Royals.
The Royals.
Sometimes I wonder if I would have gotten more into baseball if it was actually on where I grew up. It was never on.
That's definitely not true.
That's the only reason I got into it, was because the Cubs were on every day.
I mean, did you have cable?
For a little bit.
Yeah,
I had satellite.
If you had, then yeah, it was on every day. Just like national.
Well, we didn't have like ESPN or whatever though. What?
You had cable, but you didn't have ESPN?
Satellite. My parents didn't want to pay for the ESPN because it was a NASCAR family, so they paid for the NASCAR stuff.
Is that even possible to get a satellite but not have ESPN?
Yeah, that's
I
an
guess
add-on.
so. Apparently,
ESPN's an add-on.
No, it is a part of the most basic of basic cable packages.
It was an add-on for DirecTV in the early 2000s. That's all I got.
Wow, that's weird.
Because I remember my dad was getting upset because they were moving some of the NASCAR races to ESPN, and he'd have to pay extra to watch it.
I see. By the way, speaking of the Masters, the defending champion Hideki Matsuyama may not play. I mean, he pulled out of last week's tournament, hasn't been feeling good, but it is his champions dinner tonight. Did you see what is on his menu?
Sounds awesome.
He is going to try to bankrupt the Augusta National because, well, his appetizers are assorted sushi, sashimi, and nigiri. I'm not familiar
I think
with.
you said it right.
I think I'm right. And yakitan chicken skewers. There's also a miso glazed black cod, but
Are you talking about the steak?
he has, for the entree, the main dish, has ordered an A5 Wagyu. This is one of the rarest and most decadent cuts of meat, and it's not just a A5 Wagyu, it's a A5 Wagyu ribeye.
Hell yeah!
Which can cost as much as $50 an ounce.
See, this is what you do.
An ounce.
We were talking off the air. I think it was off the air yesterday with Nick, just kind of telling him about Augusta and all the the things about Augusta and just how rich they are. This is what you do. I had a boss take me out to lunch with another boss, and he said, "Hey, order the steak. It's on his dime. Order the steak." And I was like, "Okay, boss, I'll do that."
Yeah, but it wasn't an A5 Wagyu.
It was not, but my boss didn't run Augusta National Golf Course.
If you ordered a 16-ounce ribeye,
oh my
gosh, that's $800 at $50 an ounce.
Wow. Good on you, man.
So, if they have to raise the price of the pimento cheese sandwiches,
it's because
of Hideki ordering the A5 Wagyu for his champions dinner. I want to be invited.
Yeah.
Come on, Hideki.
Invite
us.
The Grum live from Augusta
Yeah, we
National.
want to be there.
Oh, the champions dinner. How fun would that be?
That would be fun.
Yeah, indeed.
Not as fun as our next guest. Mike Ferrin joins us next live in the video stream. It's baseball season.
He's a big fan of Sizzler. Big Sizzler guy. I've never had Sizzler. I forget.
Oh,
is it
man,
still
you are
around?
missing out.
Is it still around?
I
forgot about Sizzler.
No. The nearest.
I just meant like in general. Like, could I go somewhere and have it?
Like, is it like TGI Fridays where it's only in Kansas City now?
The nearest.
Is that true?
I think so.
The nearest of that type of steakhouse.
Mm-hmm.
There was, I think there is still a Ponderosa in Des Moines.
Des Moines?
And it's high quality. It's the best.
Oh, it sounds amazing. I say we go do the show from there too.
Jack and I have talked about taking bus trips to Des Moines just so we can enjoy a dinner at Ponderosa.
They're our friends at KLIN. We're their friends. I think
they can pick us up on the way.
Perfect.
Mike Ferrin joins us next. It's baseball season on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone Traffic.
From the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. As far as wrecks go, you should have some smooth sailing out there this afternoon. Getting a little bit of a report of a delay if you're east on Highway 370 from Golden Boulevard to about the JFK. Delays on westbound 370 between 72nd and 84th. Looks like there's some slow going on L Street for both directions around 90th. And then if you're headed east on West Center Road, delays starting at about 192nd. I'm Mike Neville.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by IBEW Local 22.
Looking for a career, not a job? IBEW has immediate openings for residential electricians. You'll receive top pay, fully funded family health care, and retirement benefits. Invest in yourself with IBEW Local 22. Call Michael at 402-810-0789.
Seller's market? Yeah, that's the understatement of the year. So how does that affect you?
Brent Rasmussen of Mortgage Specialists.
No matter what's going on with the economy, there are several unbendable laws at work. The biggest one is, when supply is low, the demand is high. It's no different in the housing market. Right now, the difference in the number of available homes in the metro area versus the number of waiting buyers is extreme. So if you're thinking that you want to buy, what should you do, or even not do? Well, first things first, let's make a plan. Mortgage Specialists will be there to give you all the correct information you're going to need. We know ways that'll show the seller that you're a serious buyer. We'll use all of our knowledge and experience to show you other ways to navigate in this market. I'm Brent Rasmussen. Call me at Mortgage Specialists, and we can show you all of the details. Mortgage Specialists, driven, trusted, reliable.
Click mtg-specialists.com. NMLS number 5918, Equal Housing Lender.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Email Sharpen Betting on the Equitable Bank inbox with whatever's on your mind. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can get me at Gary at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules, but I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Sponsored by DHHS and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
Mike Ferrin, Sirius XM MLB Network Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, now singing the Mike Ferrin Open, it's Mike Stibbs.
Just make sure it sounds sexy, Stibbs.
Lord Almighty, how can you stand Arizona? Your fair skin must be burning down into your absent soul. Mike, 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 we can barely hear you. It sounds to me like you called us from inside a hole. But your phone calls lift me higher, like the ERA of Mark Pryor. Your hair looks like it's on fire. You're Mike Ferrin.
I told you every Tuesday is
You're just a hunker.
Stibbs Sings the Hits Day.
Uh-huh.
With him singing the Bruntsea Open and now the Ferrin Open. And there he is with the halo of his fan twirling over his head. Always makes for a great visual.
Oh, yeah.
On our live video stream, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Hello, Mike. Happy baseball.
I'll have you know there's a Sizzler at 56th Avenue in Indian School in Phoenix.
See, I looked this up during the break. This is like the territory system. All the Ponderosas and Bonanzas are on the East Coast, and all the Sizzlers are on the West Coast. And guess what? There's a giant chasm right up Tornado Alley. There's nothing. We got nothing. The closest Bonanza is in Minneapolis.
John, can I interest you in a Cannonball Run remake where we're trying to get Sizzler east of the Rockies?
Yes, absolutely.
Have you ever had a Sizzler then, Ferrin? Have you had it before?
Oh, man, there's nothing quite like the giant sneeze guard on a salad bar there. It really does put the Drover salad bar to shame, which is tough to say because I love the Drover salad bar. So
let's be honest, the Drover salad bar, it's okay.
Yeah.
But I mean,
you're
we're talking
going for
about
the salad to the Drover.
Yeah, exactly. You go to the Drover for the steak, similar to Sizzler. You go to Sizzler for the steak.
That said, the best salad bar I ever had was at a Brazilian steakhouse. Incredible.
Oh, yeah. Fogo de Chao has the best salad bar anywhere because they want you to fill up on the fiber for two reasons. One, so you don't eat as much of the meat, and two, so that you don't die from eating all of the meat.
That is so true. But you know you're in a classy steakhouse when you order the steak at a counter. You just walk up, you walk through the little, what do they call those? The switchbacks, because there's usually a line, and you order at the counter, and then you get your tray with your plates and your glasses, and you serve yourself at the salad bar, and then you got the little table tent, and so someone knows, hey, table 15, they have the 8-ounce ribeye. That's
Josh
about
is just
that
a
thick.
child, and so he doesn't remember the commercials, which always ended with Sizzler. That was the highlight.
What was it a Sizzler commercial? The guy wearing the boat hat? You love that commercial.
Have you seen, this is a YouTube sensation we found about 10 years ago.
It's a YouTube sensation in John's eyes.
Oh, it was Mike, you'll love it.
YouTube.
You'll love it. You'll love it.
Sean
It's like a 5-minute long training video when Sizzler went through kind of a
rebrand.
A rebrand in the early 90s, and it is gold. I will send you the link,
please.
But it is tremendous. I mean,
awesome.
It's got people. It's.
I don't know.
I
why
can't
I
even
always remember
describe
the guy
it.
in the sailor's hat.
The
but
guy
I
in the
always
sailor hat.
remember the guy in the
Everyone's
sailor's hat.
smiling. The lady who's lusting after the desserts. I mean, it is. I've got like a half a dozen gifs from that 5-minute video that I use on occasion.
I remember when I went to Golden Corral as a young tyke. And just the idea of, wow, all of this is for me, buffet, and I got a steak from there. And I was like, this is very disappointing. I will never order one of these again. So I just did all you can eat shrimp.
I'll send you the link.
Great story, Josh.
Yes, exactly. Great story.
Holy cow.
By the way, Mike, you will appreciate this. When we were teasing the top of the show today, and he read your quote tweet of our lineup.
Oh, yeah, naming baseball players.
Josh was able to name 5, but 3 we had just talked about. We had just talked about Bobby Witt Jr. We had just talked about Shohei, and we just talked about Mike Trout.
Yeah.
And then he managed to squeeze out 2 more. And then I said,
and then I got to 8 or 9.
Well, but then I said, name me 5 more. And he said,
Mookie Betts.
You said the guy who came from Boston and went to LA. He's got the funny name.
I didn't say funny name. I said cool name.
You said funny name.
No, I did not.
The guy with the 2 different eyes, the 2 different eye colors.
Sure, sir.
This is a true story.
Hey, Mike, name 5 college football players, you big jerk. You can't do that.
He's covering his face.
Hey, Mike,
You're
how
an
about
embarrassment.
you ready for this, Mike? We're getting we got it. We got the free MLB.TV. I'm watching the Royals this year. How about that?
Hey, they should be kind
Baseball.
of fun. I
That's
don't know
right,
that they're
Bobby
going to be a
Witt.
playoff team, but I think they're going to be pretty fun.
Is Bobby Witt Jr. going to be the best player of all time, or just like top 5?
He's going to be really good. I think that's the thing. Is we were having a little bit of this discussion today because Witt, Spencer Torkelson, who was the first round, the number 1 overall pick in 2020 by the Tigers, and Julio Rodriguez, who is the top prospect for the Mariners. So it's like 3 of the top 5 prospects are going to open the season in the big leagues. And we were talking specifically about Witt and Torkelson because they're in the same division. But Torkelson's a better hitter, I would say, than Witt. Not that Witt is bad. I just think Torkelson's kind of a special hitter with power.
Mhm.
Witt's got power. There's probably going to be a little bit more swing and miss there, but there's more speed. He plays infield on the left side, so there's more value defensively. I think there's probably going to be some growing pains early with him, but he's got a chance to be really good. And if Mondesi can stay healthy, the left side of their infield has a chance to be hugely impactful for Kansas City. So they're a really fun team. I think they're going to run the bases well. They're going to hit for a little bit more power than maybe that last iteration of the Royals. This feels kind of like the 2013 Royals to me. Like they're not quite ready for prime time, but they're getting there. But I also think they're in a position where that window is going to be open longer for them to have success. So I'm really excited about the future of the Royals, and I think the present's going to be pretty fun.
Is this one of the benefits of the new CBA? Is the service time thing, which was such a controversy, is a little bit more streamlined now? Obviously, it affected Chris Bryant and his call up. Is this maybe one of the benefits we're going to see as fans? Is some of these young guys called up earlier?
I think maybe from a standpoint of there's potentially extra draft picks in it for players that are of their ilk if you have them for the full season. But I don't know if it's that so much as I think the 6th playoff spot probably plays a bigger role for Seattle, which, missed the postseason by a game last year. I think for the Royals, they just don't play service time manipulation games. I think that's one of Dayton Moore's real strengths. And for the Tigers, they just need production. They were going to have Riley Green in their opening day lineup too, who's their other outstanding offensive prospect, but he broke his foot right at the end of spring training, and so he's going to miss about 8 weeks. But I think some of it is the playoff. I think some of it might be that, but then you still have teams like the Pirates who have O'Neal Cruz, who was one of their best players in spring, and they sent him to AAA. So, it's. I don't know. I'm still skeptical that the service time manipulation levers that they tried to implement in the CBA are going to have much impact.
Mike, speaking of the new CBA, I want to rewind just a little bit because the last time we had you on, I don't know if I'd ever heard you as frustrated about the state of Major League Baseball as you were in that moment. I guess, are you surprised that we are talking to you on April 5th, that the season is starting on April 7th, given where we were, but a short time ago?
Yeah, I think a little bit. Things were not trending in a positive direction, and it certainly seemed like the league was trying to sell us on a really, really optimistic viewpoint from a number of those discussions that never really got there. But I think, in the end, the fact that they were able to hammer it out that we're not going to miss any games, even though they're going to have to shoehorn 6 or 7 in throughout the course of the year with extra double headers and 4 extra days at the end of the season. I think it's a real positive. And, for the most part in camps, I just hit all but one of the Arizona camps over the last 2 weeks. And, it's not that nobody wanted to talk about it. It just wasn't top of mind for guys because they were ready to go. And I think everybody's excited to get baseball back on the field and, hopefully with a better relationship between the players and owners. I think the NBA has done a really good job of marketing the idea that it's a partnership between the owners and players, which really, it's never really a partnership between management and labor at any level. But I think that what the players want us to have, the idea that their voice is being heard. And to this point, the league has at least been willing to listen. The commissioner's gone into a couple of camps to meet with small groups of players, and I think that's a real positive sign. So I hope that continues, and I just hope that when we get to our next collective bargaining agreement, that we're not dealing with the same level of acrimony that surrounded those 99 days of the owner's lockout.
On to the season, the AL East on paper, the most loaded division in baseball. Outside of Baltimore, could you say that there would be little surprise that any of the other 4 teams could win this division? And could you see at least 3 teams making the playoffs out of this division?
Yeah, I mean, I think 3 teams have a good chance to make it. I mean, I would be surprised if it was 4, but, last year the Jays won 91 games and didn't make the postseason. I mean, that's the most ever in the wild card era. So, I think it's possible. Boston, I feel like they overachieved a little bit last year. Tampa Bay they're dealing with some injuries in their bullpen. The loss of Pete Fairbanks early in the year is going to be a significant one for them. He's not maybe a household name, but he's one of the better relievers in the American League, and he's probably going to miss half the season. And while they have a stable of arms and are very good at filling that role, I'm curious to see how that plays out, although they'll have a full season of Wander Franco, who's just spectacular at shortstop. So, I think that's fair to say. I think Toronto's the sexy pick. I think everybody's kind of sleeping on the Yankees. They're pretty good. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's good. I think it's a good division. I think I think the top of the NL West is pretty good too. So I don't know that I think the American League East is far and away the best division. I think Dodgers, Padres, Giants are still pretty good in the NL West. And I think there's 3 pretty good teams at the top of the NL East too. And Miami's one of those teams that can really pitch. And if they get any offense whatsoever, they could be a little bit scary.
I just look at, because you've got 4 in this division. The others you mentioned, there are 3. I mean, it's nitpicking a little bit, but yeah, I certainly see where you're coming from in terms of those other divisions. Speaking of the Blue Jays, they're back in Toronto this year. Of course, COVID last year, because of the restrictions, they were playing in Buffalo. COVID. But Canada is still pretty strict with its COVID policies. Could this mean trouble for teams like the Yankees, say, traveling up north? There was the talk of the whole New York City ordinance that needed to be changed, and it was. But do we still maybe have issues with teams traveling to Canada?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's entirely possible. I mean, I don't think the vaccination rate of players for Major League Baseball is as high as it is in the other sports, NFL, NBA, NHL. So, yeah, I think you run the risk of players being put on the restricted list for those games up there. And if you're losing key guys, especially if you're in the division, I mean, that's 9-10 games that you would lose them for against a division rival. So I don't know who is or isn't vaccinated. That's not something that I've tried to go around finding out. Right. But I think, we'll see when teams start going into Toronto how they handle it, because, there is that chance that they're going to end up losing key players over the course of the season if they aren't, because the mandates right now in Canada are that you must be vaccinated across the border.
Mike, John just mentioned the Dodgers. You've been covering Major League Baseball since there were many more sizzlers than there currently are in the country right now. Can you?
I thought you were going to say covering baseball since Jackie Robinson was a Dodger.
Perhaps. Is there an equivalent?
I don't know if you know this, but Larry King once saw Jackie Robinson, and thus how are we ever going to survive if he can't watch the Dodgers on Jackie Robinson Day?
I do want to ask him about
Ginkgo Baloma.
But do you remember a time in your
calcium?
Since you've been covering baseball, Mike, like a team like this,
these old references
in terms of expectations? I just looked at their win total on the FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code 1620, by the way.
Promo code 1620.
99.5. I don't have a historical knowledge of over-unders for Major League Baseball. I can't remember. Yeah,
that's very high.
I can't remember seeing a total that high.
I mean, the projection systems have them as a mid-90s win team, which is pretty remarkable, too. Those tend to be very conservative in their win-loss totals. So, what's funny is the Baseball Prospectus' Pacoda does kind of like a curve of where they run a Monte Carlo simulation, right? So you run the season 10,000 times, and then you take kind of the aggregate of it, but you can see where everything is. And the amount of times that they cross a 700 winning percentage is pretty large, which that's like 110 win team, basically, a little bit north of that. So, I mean, I don't think that this is the best Dodger team of the last decade. I mean, I think their lineup has a chance to be really good, even with the trade of AJ Pollock. And by the way, I love that trade for the White Sox. I thought that was really impactful for them.
Same.
I think their lineup is, you don't even know who AJ Pollock is. Where did AJ Pollock go to college?
UCLA.
No.
Oh, I thought it was close. Sorry, I didn't mean to crash your answer.
Just the way you said it. Yep. Thank you. Yeah, I absolutely love that deal for the White Sox.
God, you were a moron.
Anyway, back to the answer.
The Dodgers.
I think that I don't think they're quite as deep in the rotation as they have been. I'm curious to see how Kimbrel pitches because the velocity's been down this spring. And maybe it's just spring, and he's going to get it back, but he's been more 93, 94 than anything than 97 to 99, but he's going to slot into the ninth inning there. I think they're a very good team. I think they're, one of the favorites in the National League, but I think the other favorites in the divisions are pretty strong. I think Milwaukee has a chance to finish with the best record in the National League, in large part because that division isn't very good and they are excellent. And the Braves might actually be a better team on paper now than they were when they won the World Series a year ago. And that's even with losing Freddie Freeman. Remember, at the beginning of May, they're going to get Ronald Acuna Jr. back, who's their best player, who they didn't have last postseason. They added a guy who is nearly the equal of Freeman in Matt Olson from the A's in a trade. And they signed Kenley Jansen as a free agent. I think that's a really good Braves team too. So the top teams in the National League are really, really good.
See, I was going to ask you about the Kimbrel for Pollock trade. By the way,
Notre Dame.
I'm glad that Wiki works.
Yeah.
Congratulations on Googling.
Hey, I do what I can.
But I was going to ask if this could be one, and putting Pollock to the side for just a moment, if this could be a trade that actually might hurt both teams, because you mentioned Kimbrel, the velocity is down. He was coming off a rocky finish to his season last year with the White Sox. And at the same time, the White Sox weakened their bullpen. They've lost Garrett Crochet. They've lost Lance Lynn from the starting rotation. Did the White Sox maybe hurt themselves in the short term because of this?
Well, the White Sox had added Kendall Graveman and Joe Kelly already this winter to that.
But isn't Kelly going to be starting?
Yeah, he's going to be starting a little slow. But Graveman was, one of the best relievers in the American League last year, and I think is poised to do that again. And they still have Aaron Bummer, who's kind of the overlooked guy in their pen. He's really good.
Where did Aaron Bummer go to school, Josh?
I don't know. Dang it, I was hoping you were going to ask Graveman because I know he went to Mississippi State.
Yeah. Wow. Look at you.
College World Series,
freaking
folks.
seamhead.
Yeah, but he didn't know where Aaron Bummer went to school.
No, he didn't.
Did he play in the College World Series?
He played in college in Nebraska.
Oh, yeah. Oops.
Which one?
Great work.
Which
Nebraska.
You had two choices.
Carney.
Three.
He had three.
Yeah,
He had three. He missed.
How about that answer,
This
though?
is going to be the new bit now. We're just going to test Josh on his baseball
Where did guys go to
knowledge.
school?
The White Sox also signed Johnny Cueto last night, who did not go to college.
High school.
Has been a very good major league pitcher for a long time, and so they put him in on a minor league deal to get him ramped up for the season, in hopes of him helping alleviate some of the innings issue that they have without Lynn there, and there's probably going to be some innings limits on Kopech, but that's a really strong team. That lineup now I think is the equal of the Dodgers. I mean, I was over there Sunday to watch them play Colorado, and they had their A lineup in, and Andrew Vaughn, who went to Cal, was the number 3 overall pick in the draft a few years ago. And he was hitting 9th in the lineup. I mean, that's their designated hitter, was hitting 9th. And it's not because he can't hit or it was like a substitute. It's because their lineup is so deep. So I think that's a really good White Sox team. I think they are good enough that John might switch his allegiance.
Wow.
I'm not switching my allegiance.
Speaking of John, he mentioned Larry.
Though I'll probably end up watching a lot more White Sox games because they'll be winning a lot more. And I like Jason Benetti and Steve Stone.
Speaking of announcers, so you mentioned Larry King, God rest his soul. Whenever, Mike, a TV package changes,
Esther C.
In is that a Notre Dame again.
No. Buffalo. Hello. Sorry.
So whenever
He's doing his Larry King impersonation.
Okay. Whenever a TV package changes, like in college football, people around here get very triggered. Like, oh, hey, Nebraska's going to play on Friday night now. People are really mad. What has it been like in Major League Baseball circles with the Friday night Apple Plus situation and Joe Buck saying, screw you, baseball. I'm a football guy now. And Joe Davis going to call the World Series moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that there's I think, Joe Buck called something like 25 World Series, right? It's like 2.5 times the next highest total, which I think was
Which is crazy.
10,
Nuts.
right? Like, yeah.
He was younger than me when he started calling World Series.
Right. And Joe Davis is 34 and probably will call the next 30 of them. So, like, good luck.
Yeah.
I think so. I can only speak to it personally, really. I mean, the reaction to Joe has been pretty positive overall, Joe Davis. I mean, I'm friends with Joe. I've known Joe for a long time. He's a hell of a guy. And a great broadcaster, and I'm super excited for him. I think he's going to do a terrific job. I think he's, in that Brian Anderson mold, and I think BA was one of his mentors. Brian does obviously the NBA and Turner's baseball package
and the Brewers.
And the Brewers, yeah, and BA is great. And so I think Joey's going to be terrific in that role. As for the Apple TV package, that's actually a really interesting discussion because those are exclusive broadcasts.
Yeah.
So if let's say you're an out-of-market subscriber to MLB TV and you like, let's say, I guess opening nights for that is like the Mets and the Nationals, right? So let's say you're a Mets fan living in Omaha. Well, you're going to have an Apple TV subscription to watch that game. You won't get it on MLB TV, which has got to be frustrating. Now, the good news is that it's free, at least through the first 3 months that Apple's going to do that. So that's a little bit of a frustration. But the flip side, on the side that we haven't heard much from, is for those people who are in market, who are cord cutters, because those will not be subject to the blackout restrictions. And if you live in New York or Washington or wherever the game is on that given night, you actually will get it. And maybe you get into do the free preview or whatever, or maybe you're already an Apple TV subscriber, and so you get that. So I think that there has been a louder pushback on that. I mean, it's going to impact 2 or 3 games a season, but there are other things that are coming down the pipe. Peacock is going to do some stuff, including some games that are going to start at like 11:30 a.m. Eastern time on Sundays to get into an exclusive window ahead of TBS's for them, which I think is
the
really
Yankees Amazon thing.
Right. That's a lot. That's an eighth of their schedule that's going to be on Amazon
and
Prime.
Those are just on Amazon, not on Yes.
And only in
Correct.
New York. We can't watch those here. You have to be in New York. Yeah,
but you should be as somebody who's out of market. You should be able to get that through MLB TV. I think that one would still allow you to watch it through MLB TV.
Wow.
But at least in terms of in market, I think that impacts that. So yeah, it's not unlike what we saw 30 years ago when teams started moving to cable from broadcast, and the volume of games increased then, but it made it more difficult to access for a number of people. And that's something that the league has to be mindful of while they're doing this, while also still having in-market blackout restrictions to protect their local TV partners. So this is the first step in an evolution to try and get more streaming, more access to games, and getting games into the hands of younger viewers, theoretically.
Apple's not producing these themselves, are they?
MLB Network is. So I don't think it's been announced yet, so I'll tell you. But I think Melanie Newman's going to be the play-by-play announcer on the East Coast games, and Steven Nelson is going to do the West Coast games. So 2 really good young broadcasters. Mel's been a friend of mine for a long time. Steven's great, good dude. So it's going to have a little bit different feel to it too, and I think that's kind of interesting. Just in the sense that they want to try and create something that isn't necessarily born of the traditional television mold, because I think in general, we have done a lousy job of evolving everything in baseball, including how to make the broadcast more entertaining. The game is the thing until it isn't in baseball, and then you still need to keep an audience riveted for 3 hours. So I'm really curious to see how that plays out, and I'm excited to watch them, and I'm excited for both of them as well.
Well, you're going to need a scorecard, kids, and a program to keep track of where all the games are going to be this year. And it's only probably going to get more confusing.
Do they even make scorecards anymore, John?
He had one in the booth last week.
Well, yeah, it's a scorebook. It's how I keep track of,
the Brooklyn Dodgers.
R.I.P. Larry King.
Larry King is still the poster child for baseball. Maybe we do need to freshen this up a little bit.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, this is, and you said it, Mike, this is like the beginning of this new era of streaming, because later this year, the NFL will have Thursday night games only on Amazon on Thursday nights. And I just remembered there's going to be, I think, one game that will only be on ESPN Plus. So this is the beginning of more of these types of things.
Yeah, and even further down the line, another year from now, I think the NBA package is coming up, and Apple and Amazon are both expected to be huge players for that. So, this is kind of the reality. Now, those are national TV packages. I mean, the problem with baseball is that you have so much local content, right? You have 10 times the games almost that you have in the NFL, and most of that is produced locally and not nationally. But you have to find a way to get those games into the hands of consumers as the viewing habits change, and especially the younger ones, because we're, listen, I get that it's frustrating for those of us who are over the age of 40 who might struggle with technology at times, but they've already got us, right? Like, we can be upset about the DH or shake our fist at the sky and all that, but they're probably not going to lose us. They've got to get people who are younger interested in the game, and part of that is taking this giant volume of games that they have, which is as many as 15 a night, and getting them into the hands of younger consumers faster and in a way that they can actually enjoy them.
Yep.
Hell yeah, our generation is taking over. What a time to be alive.
It's not you're old. You're a millennial.
It's
my generation.
Gross.
Yeah.
Zoom.
Yeah. You're almost old enough, Josh, to complain about how entitled Generation Z is.
Yeah.
Oh, he already has.
Yeah.
These kids today, they don't have anything, right, Nick?
They don't have the work ethic that my
kids.
generation had. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, and there was no work ethic.
They wanted
Josh.
back in my era, pitchers had to hit. Sad. Sad.
Mike Ferrin, ladies and gentlemen. I did retweet and I attached you to it, Mike. The it's about a 4-minute long video, a promotional video from Sizzler from 1991.
Speaking of the old days,
it's really good. I laughed a lot.
Even the frozen frame on it has just tremendous 1991 hair.
Oh, there is some 1991 hair big time going on here.
My dude, that is a lot of Aquanet.
Yes. And you're going to love Sailor Guy, random, who looks like he's a refugee from Long John Silver's.
All I could think of was the character from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. What's his name?
Yeah.
Spicoli?
No.
Oh, who was having fun in the bathroom?
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, Judge Reinhold. Yeah, Judge Reinhold. Yeah.
When he worked for that one day at the fish place, and he's trying to look over at the girl in the car next to him, realizing he's got this giant, sailor's hat on. He throws it out. And that's it.
Oh man!
All right. Well, baseball is back, friends, and that means
baseball.
Baseball.
With Husker expert Mike Ferrin. I forgot to mention.
Yes. Oh, maybe Husker. Huge Husker baseball series this weekend against Rutgers. By the way,
against the Rutgers.
Rutgers is pretty good, man. Like
they
might win the big, which is crazy.
Nebraska, not very good right now, Mike.
Though I looked at they've got a nice RPI, but it's not like they've been beating really good teams. But they are.
You're talking about the Rutgers?
The Rutgers, yeah. By the way, that's what we call them around here, is the Rutgers.
The Rutgers?
Well, if you have the Ohio State, it should be the Rutgers.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, big series for the Big Red.
Name a Major League Baseball player who went to Rutgers.
Todd Frazier.
Boom. What a guy. Look at Ferrin.
Who just retired, right?
Retired today.
Oh, R.I.P.
Eric Young.
Did EY went to Rutgers?
Pretty sure he went to Rutgers. And there was, what's his name? Patrick Kivlahan, who also played safety at Rutgers.
That name I don't remember.
Patrick O'Houlihan.
Right-handed hitter. Yeah, he was a prospect in the Mariners system for a while. He's bounced around a little bit.
Why does he sound like a Scooby-Doo villain?
because he was in his spare time when he wasn't
Gotta
playing.
make money when you're in the
16.
minors.
Well, yeah, you have to do it somehow. All right, Mike. See you next week.
All right, I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for these pesky kids.
Bye, Mike.
There he is, Mike Stone. Sirius XM MLB Network Radio, and we will have more coming up here on Unsportsmanlike Conduct in 1620 The Zone.
Your Omaha area forecast from Canoyer Garden Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Cloudy this evening, temperatures near 60, turning windy, and then windy overnight tonight with skies clearing out, low temperatures dropping back near 40. Windy on Wednesday, skies become mostly cloudy, a high temperature only in the low 50s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Phil Ranby from KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct, brought to you by a great friend of the program, Union Bank and Trust.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. As far as wrecks go, you should have some smooth sailing out there this afternoon. Getting a little bit of a report of a delay if you're east on Highway 370 from Golden Boulevard to about the JFK. Delays on westbound 370 between 72nd and 84th. Looks like there's some slow going on L Street for both directions around 90th. And then if you're headed east on West Center Road, delays starting at about 192nd. I'm Mike Neville. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Lanahan Nurseries.
Hey guys, spring is here and the honeydew list has begun. If you're getting ready to clean up your yard, Lanahaw is your one-stop for all landscape needs. Buy your mulch at Lanahaw Nurseries. Best quality at the best price. Convenient delivery or pickup. Lanahaw Nurseries, 192nd and Center.
Give your business a whole host of options with Host Coffee. The most impressive selection of office coffee, water options, healthy food options, and vending technologies. Host Coffee, serving you since 72.
Dreaming of adventure beyond your backyard? NerdWallet can help you compare and find the smartest credit cards to get there. Use NerdWallet to compare travel cards with bonus miles to go from working from home to relaxing far, far away. Then use NerdWallet to compare cashback cards and turn everyday purchases into a beachside cabana big enough for the whole family.
Or stand for the third tower.
She's the only boss you'll be answering to this week. Nice castle. Compare your way there. Find the smartest financial products for you on NerdWallet.
I've been driving trucks for a long time. Safety is my number one priority. I know that my truck has huge blind spots. That's why I remember to check my mirrors often for smaller vehicles. Everyone can help keep our roads safe. Next time you're behind the wheel, try to avoid lingering in those blind spots. It can be dangerous. Let's all plan to share the road safely. Learn how at www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
Dingman's Mechanical Repair. We would rather be the best than apologize for anything less.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Rooferees. It's unsportsmanlike conduct.
Hashtag not racist.
The 1620 The Zone.
All right. Well, looks like I'm going to be watching that Sizzler video again when I get home. I forgot just how cheesy it was. The music is tremendous.
I wasn't expecting a full-length song.
Oh, yeah. It was a whole, because they were rebranding Sizzler. They were going to
morning in America.
From a place where you ordered your steak and went through the salad bar to a place where you ordered your steak and went through the salad bar. But they also added Italian dishes, and you could get drinks at the table.
What a time to be alive. 1990.
And I never got to enjoy this iteration of Sizzler. I feel like I was left out.
I can't believe 1991 happened and you just unironically did that.
Well, again, that was in the same window where I didn't see a lot of movies. I mean, that was in my college years. I was poor, couldn't afford. I mean, I couldn't even afford Sizzler.
Wow, sad times.
Well, I mean, you went through
No,
college.
I know. I'm
what
just
it's
saying,
like.
sad times. College is so fun, but you don't have money.
Right.
It's like the sad part about
I mean,
college.
the thing we used to look forward to in college was it Wednesdays or Thursdays? It was the $5
Footlong?
no, at Spaghetti Works.
Oh, like an all-you-can-eat.
Yeah,
situation?
it was like an all-you-can-eat situation
Oh,
for $5.
it sounds like Olive Garden.
Oh, but it was Spaghetti Works, and it was better.
So it's worse.
Oh, when I was in school, we went to B-Dubs. They had some wings.
Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah.
I know what B-Dubs is.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. No, the best part about the Spaghetti Works was I would always get I'd get like half meat sauce, half of their beer cheese sauce. Their beer cheese was pretty good.
Yeah.
Little beer cheese on the sketty.
That sounds tasty.
And they had a good salad bar too.
Steve wants to know on the YouTube page, hey, John, how do you think the Cubs are going to do this year?
Not good.
This is not good?
Honestly, if they finish 500, that's pretty good season. I mean,
will that make the playoffs in the expanded playoff era?
It could in the
12-teamer?
National League.
Man.
Sad.
It is sad, Nick.
Yeah, the Cubs are moderately better than last year, but remember they were bad last year. So
did they make the playoffs last year?
No,
I didn't remember how big the playoff was last year. I'll be honest. Was it like 30 teams? Was it all 30 teams?
It's not soccer, Josh.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know the World Cup is going to expand. It's going to be 48 teams next time.
Oh,
how fun will that be? 48 countries, John. What a time!
Cool. That'll be more soccer matches during Husker games.
No, the next time it'll move back to the summer. This is just
bad.
the one-time thing.
That's too bad.
Just the one-time thing.
But yeah, the Cubs this year not going to be. They're not going to be as bad as last year. They're not going to be.
They won't be as good as my Royals. That's for damn sure. Or my Rockies.
Actually, that
Rockies.
that might be a pretty interesting bet. Which team is going to have the better season, the Cubs or the Royals? Ferrin was talking about projections. 538 has what they call their ELO ratings, and then they combine them with 3 other projection systems. And you were talking about how the Dodgers win total
99.5, man.
This 538 combo, but I guess we'll call it 538 composite.
Okay.
Had the Dodgers at 98.9 wins. That's for a projection.
Yeah, and like he said, those are kind of like a little more conservative.
They're a little more conservative.
Yeah.
But on that front, the Cubs are projected at 74.7 and the Royals at 73.6.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm looking at
pretty close.
FanDuel right now, promo code 1620. The Royals win total is 74.5. The shading is towards the under. The Cubs, meanwhile, 74.5, even minus 110 on both sides. And then Nick's Rockies are 68.5 with the shading towards the over. So all of us kind of hanging out in the same area.
The next nearest team in terms of win total to the Dodgers is Atlanta at 92.1. So I mean, there's almost a full 7 games difference in the projection for the Dodgers than to the Braves.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the American League East, we were talking about how loaded it was. I mean, Toronto's at 92, the Yankees at 91.9, Tampa at 87.6, Boston at 86.6.
Jeez.
So I mean,
they're
all
right there.
They're all right there. If
there.
If these projections were accurate, the playoff teams would be, let's see, American League, they kind of bunched up here. So Toronto, Houston, and Chicago would be the division champions. And then the 3 wild cards would all be in the American League East.
Wow.
And in the National League, the division winners would be LA, Atlanta, Milwaukee, and the wild card teams would be San Diego, the Mets, and either San Francisco or Philadelphia. They're projected to win the same number of games, 84.6. So there you go.
Baseball.
The Rockies are going to have a better record than the Cubs. Put it on the list.
All right. Put it on the list.
But the Royals will have a better record than the Rockies.
Hell yeah. Put it on the list.
Get the X.
What are you projecting that with? Is that your own projection system over there?
He has his models.
You have the Iowegian. I sit in my basement and play video games on Halloween projection system.
It's called the Vibe model.
It is the Vibe model. That is what I was going to call it. Again, don't have a basement, John. I wish I had a basement, but I can't afford it because I'm not rich like you two.
I don't have a basement.
You have a villa.
I do have a villa.
He does have a villa.
With a private entrance. That must be nice.
It's just a door to go into the villa.
By the way, speaking of local baseball products, of course, Aaron Bummer, former
Cornhusker, John. Everybody
is
knows
in the
that.
major leagues.
Yeah.
Former Roncalli Crimson Pride, Alec Boehm, did make the Phillies today.
Alec, don't call me Bohm.
That's right. Alec Boehm did make the Phillies today, so congratulations to him.
Congrats, that's awesome.
He's on there. So,
but if he gets a
toast,
if he hits a home run, do they call it a Boehm bomb? They should.
I have no idea if they call it that or not.
Whoever the play-by-play for Phillies is, do that.
There you go.
I wouldn't do that.
Do that. It sounds cool. There's alliteration. It's catchy.
It's all catchy. 402-951-1620 if you want to join us here on the program. We had a question asked of us this weekend regarding Scott Frost and the
I remember that question.
and the future.
Yes.
I have some thoughts on this spicy question coming up. Some of you may not like it, but we'll have that.
Asked, so we have to answer.
Also, how there might be an Omaha tie to Augusta National and how it came about. Yes. It might be an Omaha tie to how Augusta National came about. That's all coming up in the happy hour and beyond.
Nice.
Right here on 1620 The Zone. ED meds are great. They work. They're fantastic. One of the great modern miracles. It has helped many men feel young again. But wouldn't you rather have a more permanent fix? Wouldn't you rather have the function that you once had when you were young and not have to worry about taking a pill and timing anything to the taking of a pill? Well, the advanced wave technology, which is available at Brookside Medical Clinic, could be just that answer. Because it has been shown by Cambridge University and the Cleveland Clinic to restore and regrow blood vessels and improve blood flow and restore normal erectile function. Then that way you don't have to worry about the pill anymore. You don't have to worry about side effects. You don't have to worry about anything. And the advanced wave technology is non-surgical, non-invasive. It can work for you. Call Brookside Medical today and ask about the advanced wave technology. And if you call them at 402-671-7777, you can get a free consultation and blood flow ultrasound. That's right, free, to find out if the advanced wave technology at Brookside Medical is right for you. That number is 402-671-7777. If you're going to play ball, you got to have a bat. So go find your bat at Brookside Medical. 402-671-7777.
1620 The Zone is easy to hear anywhere. On air, online, and on social media. Wherever you are, we are. 1620 The Zone.
Here are your 3 bacon on bacon quarter-pound double cheeseburgers. Enjoy your Sonic.
Dang, son, this bacon is just hanging out of this burger, dog. That nice, tangy smoked sauce.
The bacon on this burger is just asking me to eat it.
You should oblige.
Bring home the bacon with the Sonic Bacon on Bacon quarter-pound double cheeseburger, stacked with 4 slices of crispy bacon and covered in tangy smoked sauce. Try one half price in the app for a limited time only at Sonic. Exclusions apply. See app for details. Mobile ordering available at select locations.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's half-off deal is to Cops Pizza. Get two $25 gift vouchers for just $25. Cops Pizza makes delicious pizza, fresh salads, and tasty charred wings with a variety of homemade sauces. For the menu, click copspizza.com. Visit them at 72nd and Jones or at the Shadow Lake Town Center.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats. Dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people. Small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Start your car buying journey today at Woodhouse Ford and experience the difference. Discover a new era in the 2022 Ford Edge. The seamless integration of power, performance, and technology allows you to feel confident on the road. Place a custom order today and design an Edge that meets the demands of your lifestyle. Plus, shop online anytime at woodhouseford.com or visit us in Blair, Omaha, or Plattsmouth.
1620 The Zone's unsportsmanlike conduct is brought to you by Union Bank and Trust. Now back to the program.
Joe in Phoenix tweets in on the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed. He says, I haven't even heard the question, nor have I heard John's response to the Frost question, but I already support it 1 million times over. So the question is actually, is Scott Frost the best coach of all time? Joe supports that. That's a surprise.
Well, we'll get into that in the happy hour here in just a few minutes. I saw a lot of the volleyball folks who were in my timeline were sending out the tweets over the weekend and yesterday regarding the disparity in the coverage between women's basketball and women's volleyball. Because women's basketball, the national championship airs in a prominent spot. There's games on network television,
including the Creighton Iowa
the Creighton
game.
Iowa State or Creighton Iowa game was on actual ABC.
Yeah.
Whereas in volleyball, and this was a meme that was going around, that only 12 of the 67 tournament games were televised.
In volleyball?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because they put a lot of them on.
They put a lot of them on the stream.
Yeah.
And the idea is that, volleyball has the most high school participants of all the girls' team sports, and it's this hidden gem that no one's paying attention to. And so the idea isn't that, hey, women's basketball is getting too much. That's not the point. The point is we should be getting what women's basketball is getting, the same kind of level of, respect and coverage. And I mean, certainly there's
a couple weeks ago,
there's certainly a lot of there's a lot of logic to the conversation. And it's true, volleyball is getting more and more popular all the time.
Isn't the crux of this question, John, if volleyball had the type of coverage that women's basketball had, let's just say all the games were on television, some of the games were on network television, and their championship event and their Final Four resulted in premium high-level coverage, which means ESPN, ESPN, the main ESPN, which is what the Final Four was on, and then the championship game on Sunday. Would it draw an equivalent amount, or do they not do that because ESPN either knows or doesn't think? Like, that's what this ultimately boils down to.
It does. The women's basketball championship pulled in something around 4 million viewers, and the women's volleyball final pulled in a little over, I think it was 1.2 million or 1.3 million, something like that. But if you look at the level of promotion,
it's much higher.
Very different. I mean, and part of this too is in timing.
Definitely. Volleyball goes against football.
Volleyball goes against football. And the women's basketball tournament, both televised, both of the rights are held by ESPN. One of the advantages I think that women's basketball has on ESPN is they get all of the focus of ESPN because ESPN doesn't have any of the rights to the men's tournament.
It's a great
point. So ESPN, which has all of these men's games, and they're, huge in, championship week with the SEC tournament and the Big 12 tournament and all of the different tournaments that they have, goes right from that And then their spigot of NCAA men's basketball is turned off. Yeah, they have the NIT, but that's
yeah.
So they literally just pivot and put all of their energy into, we got the women's tournament. And they do a lot of promotion in there. While they have volleyball, you don't see the kind of promotion in their coverage.
Well, they don't do so with women's hoops, a Sports Center episode will have hey, let's kick it over to our studio team that covers the event.
Sure.
And they talk about it for 5 minutes and they talk about the games and what's going to happen. They don't do that for volleyball.
They don't.
And by the way, they don't do that for the College World Series either.
No.
They did it at one point in time. I remember Linda Cohn and Kenny Mayne, they'd come here every now and
Back
then.
in the day.
But they don't do that. They'll get the highlight during the College World Series, but they're not having guys breaking it down, talking about it, you know, in a studio setting.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is in the timing, and you're right. Volleyball goes up against football. But I do think part of it, though, too, is ESPN going, well, we want a piece of some of the action, and so it's a natural pivot from them to go from their men's basketball coverage to their women's basketball coverage. Whereas in volleyball season, I don't think they do any regular season volleyball, do they?
On ESPN or ESPN2? Not that I know of. I think they'll throw games on ESPNU and the SEC network, and the ACC, but not on the regular.
Because they're so football heavy with the NFL and college that everything just gets kind of pushed off to the side. And so when volleyball comes along, it's the first time
that a lot of people have seen it.
That a lot of people will have seen it on their network. And so I'm not disagreeing with the premise and the idea that volleyball deserves more coverage. I just wonder if you have to maybe move the schedule somewhat to get it into a more advantageous window, or do you move it to another network who will give it more love and support? But here's the other problem.
If it's not
everybody has football, right?
Yeah, basically.
Everybody has football.
Yeah.
CBS isn't going to drop everything and cover volleyball. NBC's not going to do it. Fox isn't going to do it. And granted, all of the NCAA sports that have their championships on ESPN, they're all packaged into one big deal. So, volleyball's lumped in with softball and basketball and baseball and all of the other stuff. So they're not going to spin one off. So even if they could, the question is, where would it be? You almost have to adjust the season to get the same level of commitment from the network, because you're going up against the monster.
Yeah.
You're going up against football.
The other thing that I wonder about it too is, when you get into high-level championship events and you're talking about television viewership, normally you are talking about casual fans tuning in. And I think most casual sports fans, they have a general idea of what good and what bad basketball is, because I think a lot of us grew up playing basketball. Men and women grew up playing basketball. And I think that is an important part of this discussion, because I don't know if all the casual fans know the rules of volleyball or even know the vernacular of volleyball. I think Riley tweets in on the JTech Instructions on Twitter feed. He says, I think if audiences had a chance to be exposed to women's volleyball as much as they are with basketball, the ratings would be as good and perhaps better. I think there's more parity in volleyball than women's basketball. And that's a great point. You talk about competition and getting new champions or different champions and seeing upsets along the way, that could be valuable. You saw them really touting that in the women's tournament this year, especially with a team like Creighton, as they made a deep run. I heard it on the radio when I listened to the game. I heard it on television when I was watching the game. They were really celebrating that. And look, they want that. That's good. Madness. They want the madness to go over from the men's game to the women's game, because that's, again, how you get casual viewers. But there's a part of me that wonders aloud, do casual fans understand volleyball enough to, watch it en masse? And I don't know the answer. I think your point about the season that it happens in, I think is very important. It happens during football season. It happens in December, like the championship. It's going to be dwarfed, just like everything is, because football, and especially the NFL, are king. If it had an opportunity to move beyond that and maybe get a bit of a push, what would that result in terms of the casual fans, tuning in? I don't know.
There does need to be an element of education, certainly. To your point.
I think that's important, man.
It is.
I can turn on a basketball game, and I think a lot of our audience could turn on a basketball game, and they know the vernacular, and they, even if they don't like hoops, they kind of know it.
Right.
I don't think that everybody in our audience would be able to do that with volleyball.
And maybe in our audience, because it's been a volleyball state for a long time.
Yeah.
But in a lot of other places, it's not as familiar. Volleyball, honestly, falls into kind of that, Olympic sports conversation where it's one of those things that people are exposed to once every 4 years.
We don't have the pro league that we all know of, you
Right.
know, and we have that with women's hoops. The WNBA has been around.
But
now
even gender aside, we know basketball because whether it's played by men or by women, it's the same sport.
It's bad, and it's been around for a long time.
Right.
I vaguely remember playing volleyball in gym class. Vaguely. We played basketball. Anytime it was like open gym, we're playing basketball. That's what we did. And that, I think, is very, very important. Growing up, of course, in a state like this, everyone knows what football is and how the general rules of the sport work out. Same, I think, with baseball. If your general audience, though, doesn't know it, and they're like, because look, I'll be honest, I don't watch a whole lot of regular season volleyball, but whenever I do tune in, I'm like, man, it is a really exciting and fun sport.
Sure.
It's incredibly athletic. And that's all. It pops up off the TV. I think that you can obviously tell that they are really good athletes. But, I don't know the ins and outs of the entire sport. I'll be honest. I don't know all of them. And that can be a barrier to entry, I think, for a lot of people.
It can. Now, that doesn't mean that you couldn't put more promotional oomph in it and try to air it more often.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have to be able to fit it. If you're going to keep it in the same spot on the calendar, you're going to have to fit it in at, maybe awkward days.
Yeah.
Maybe you're playing, instead of playing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you might be playing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Because once the weekend hits, guess what? Everyone's, geared up and refocused on football.
Josh says, are the volleyball rules really that confusing? See, now, Josh, look at it this way, though. Whenever an overtime happens in the NFL and in college, what do? They explain the overtime rules to us again. You, Josh, us, we are hardcore, diehard sports fans. But a lot of the people that you are trying to get to watch it are not. And so I don't know if they're confusing, more so that they just don't know the rules. They don't know how the sport works out.
I think it's certainly one you can learn very quickly.
Yeah, Kevin says all they'd have to do is for the casuals to understand the vernacular, would be like what they do for the Olympics with those little infographics popping up every once in a while. See, but that's even interesting too to me, John, because there's a fine line for the diehards where you want them to feel like, yeah, hey, I'm here. I'm not leaving. You don't need to explain everything to me. I know what the sport is, and so I always laugh at when they show the overtime rules, but I know that that's not for me,
I think a lot of it again is where it falls in the calendar.
Yeah.
And you're up against the most important product that keeps the lights on at that network. And that's college and professional football. And that's the biggest stumbling block you're going to have.
Mm-hmm. And that will never change, at least in terms of football is never going to leave that spot. So if you're that concerned, would you be willing to move off of that?
Right.
And if you are you looking at something that ends now? Are you looking at something that maybe
here's the other problem
between now and the College World Series?
But if you do that, then
against March Madness.
You're going up against March Madness, and you're going up against women's basketball.
That's true.
And I don't think you want to put those two sports opposite each other on the calendar.
And then, I mean, if you're like, no, well, Josh, why don't you do it in between now, the end of the basketball season, and the College World Series? That's fine. But, I mean, next month, for casual fans, that's when they'll start watching more NBA because it's the NBA playoffs. It's the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's golf tournaments,
Now, listen, you're always going to have something that's going to be in the way.
There's never a true dead time.
But the one sport you definitely don't want to be opposite against is football.
Yeah.
You could, like they did a couple years ago because of COVID, slide it later in the season, like, start it in January or February and end it in May, and you probably get a little more attention there. Would you want to do that? I don't know.
David says, get rid of that douche Texas Homer announcer and I'll watch more.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I think he's talking about you.
Oh, yes. Huge Texas homer right here.
Many say.
Huge Texas homer. Coming up next, it is time for the happy hour. And a question was posed to us regarding Frost in the upcoming season. But also, how did Omaha maybe, or at least someone from Omaha, maybe influence how Augusta National came to be? We'll have that story and more as we continue. It's Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. Heads up, we got a crash on 144th at Platteview Road. Still stop-and-go traffic if you're east on Highway 370 between Golden Boulevard and the JFK. Traffic lights malfunctioning on 120th at Stonegate Drive. That's causing delays for north and southbound commuters. I'm Mike Neville. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Fernando's Omaha.
The Mighty Margarita may visit other establishments, but its home is Fernando's. That's because Fernando's is the home of the $6 house margarita. Yeah! When the urge for a margarita strikes, go to where the margarita lives and get your Fernando's fix.
Got chronic joint pain? Not having success with steroids, but trying to avoid surgery? Well, thankfully, there's a better way, and it's now available here from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Hey, it's Damon Benning here. I'm talking about new therapies, advanced all-natural regenerative treatments that not only just give you relief, but also can restore and repair damaged tissue for long-lasting relief. If you got joint pain due to arthritis, knee pain, hip pain, or shoulder pain, don't just think the old ways of dealing with pain are the only ways. Call now for free consultation. QC Kinetics, 402-205-4960. These remarkable new treatments increase mobility, decrease pain, and help restore tissue. Call now and learn more about these restorative, regenerative, and revolutionary alternatives. Don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics, 402-205-4960. That's 402-205-4960.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Email any of our shows anytime into the Equitable Bank inbox. At Equitable, we take banking personally. For me, John at 1620thezone.com. The Equitable Bank inbox from 1620 The Zone.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
Throw. 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 Throw.
Happy hour is on the air. Why are you keeping it so quiet?
Turn it up!
Because you said it quiet. I thought that's what the vibe was.
No! Crank that bitch! Hey, you know what? Pause. Hit that. Okay.
Oh, all right.
You want one way to make volleyball more of a national sport?
Bring back this song.
Yep, Husker Volleyball is on the air. People will be streaming. They'll be like, wow, this is a great sport. I got to watch. It'll become
Millions would
national.
flock.
It'll be national in a heartbeat.
I like the idea. It's a great song.
Best song. Welcome to the Happy Hour. John, Josh, and Nick on this Tuesday. If you want to watch more savage beatdowns of Josh by Mike Ferrin, check it out in the radio replay section.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, he had a good time today.
I hope that it becomes a bit all year long where we just name random colleges the guys played for. I was hoping he was going to ask about Bryce Harper because I was going to say high school somewhere in Vegas. And then wait, did he go to a JUCO? Bryce Harper, his story is so crazy.
I don't remember if he went. I don't know if he went to a JUCO or not.
Let's see. Old Bryce, he attended Las Vegas High School. And then, as a 17-year-old, he went to the College of Southern Nevada.
Oh, okay.
Wow, that is crazy. He came into the pros so young, man.
He
so
did.
young.
He did. So we got an email over the weekend from John. No, it's not me.
Did you write this email?
That's weird.
I did not. And he wrote, as I watch things unfold in Lincoln, I wonder, barring an 8, 9, or 10 win season, is this Frost's last year in Lincoln? Not the staff's last year, Frost's last year. Trev certainly noted last year what any good boss or board member would. There's only one person on this staff who could possibly take over this ship if the head man went down. And he writes in parentheses, Chenander. He asked Frost to retool with veterans who can run their position groups, and bonus, veterans with pedigree to run the program if needed. I don't see Trev looking for an overhaul of the entire staff. There are many parts that fit what he wants Nebraska to be, who are proven effective and loyal to the end. I do see him wanting to show the head man the door because he knows he's not up for the job, but knows he's dealing with a god in the Husker pantheon. These two things, remove Frost but retain the staff, can only be accomplished if there is clear head coaching talent on the staff. Does it seem to you like Whip and Mickey are just commanding their rooms or auditioning for something more? I sense it is the latter. That is from John.
Quite the email.
Yes.
Quite the question.
Yes, quite the email. I mean, Whipple has been a head coach before, though I don't sense that Mark Whipple, who's what, age 63, 64, something like that. I don't think he was brought here 65.
Just turned 65.
He was not brought here to be the next head coach, or at least be the in case of emergency break glass. I mean, he was brought here to get the offense going, but I don't see him being brought here as head coaching material.
Now, is that how you heard the email? Because I almost heard it as they were brought in for the next guy, like to stay and continue on with the next guy. Did I read it wrong?
I mean, possible. It's possible.
Because I would answer to that. That's pretty frustrating. If let's just pretend they decided to part ways, that then Trevor's like, hey, we have these other guys that need to be kept around.
Right, but again, that is such a dangerous thing.
I agree.
When you're bringing in if whatever sport, if you're bringing in a new coach, to hamstring them by saying, yeah, but you need to keep this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. I think it held Frank back. I think it held Bo back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that is fair. If the coach wants to retain those assistants, that's perfectly within his right to do so. But it should be that person's decision.
Yeah,
you're bringing in that person to run that department. If you truly trust them, they need to run that department as they see fit. And if they see value in a good assistant coach, they're going to keep that good assistant coach.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes they're going to move on. Mickey Joseph is a great example.
See, he's someone that I wonder about.
Mickey Joseph, though, was down at LSU.
Yeah.
Was doing great work for them down at LSU.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like LSU was saying, all right, Brian Kelly, we're bringing you in. You're going to be our guy. You're going to lead us to our next national championship. Oh, but you need to hold on to Mickey Joseph. No, they brought him in and said, you're the guy. You make the changes you need to make as you see fit. So I would always hesitate against that kind of philosophy because it doesn't always work.
It does not always
And it doesn't
work.
show trust.
Yeah, and I think Mickey Joseph, if you look at it from now this perspective, I think that he is a very interesting test case in all this of, were there any assurances? Because, to get him from LSU to Nebraska, now I know that they went through a coaching change, but that's a pretty big get. LSU has been a much more successful program than Nebraska has. This century. They've won multiple national championships. This century, they just won a national championship in the 2019 college football season. He has gotten guys into the pros. This program is not shown to be at that caliber of a recruiting behemoth, and certainly an on-field, behemoth like LSU has at times. But, would it surprise me if when Trev, and Scott, when they were able to get him, if there were those type, I guess Scott's not going to assure him like, hey, if I get fired, you're going to still be here. But would it surprise me, I guess, if Trev made that known to him? It probably wouldn't, just because we see a lot of coaching changes being made and one guy from the previous staff is left behind. It does happen a lot.
Sure, it happens.
Even when somebody got fired for being, a part of a dumpster fire. Look at when, Bo Pelini, when he took over. He took over a staff that had just gotten fired, and Sean Watson remained, on that staff.
But also remember, there was some speculation early on that Joseph was going to get an extra year on his contract more than the other guys.
There was, I know.
And that did not happen.
I know, which is interesting to me because I thought that might be kind of like what I just said, an assurance perhaps that he would have an opportunity to remain no matter what happens. Now, the part where that gets it's such a dangerous proposition for the obvious reasons, but also if an athletic director is having those conversations, it's almost like the whole thing is doomed to fail to begin with.
Right. The direction though that I took this and John's first statement was, barring an 8 to 10 win season, is this for us last year in Lincoln?
Well, then that brings up the mystery metrics question.
Well, the mystery metrics, which I still believe have less to do with, wins and losses, or a raw number of wins and losses, and it's more behavioral based.
And I think it's wins and losses.
That's my opinion.
I think they have to be above 500, not 500, above 500.
But I pointed this out last week. If they end up with 6 wins, they've doubled the wins from the previous year.
And they make a bowl
doubled
game
the
for
wins,
the first time.
and they make a bowl game. The more I think it through, the more Nebraska shows progress. I think this is at least a 2-year deal, unless it turns out like last year again. Because I don't think even
if they lost every game by a point,
even in the close losses,
they go 3-9 and they lose every game by a point.
I think everything's off the table. Would it shock me if they still ran it back? No, because nothing at this point shocks me. But
18 and 37.
But I think if progress is shown, I don't think the actual number of wins is going to matter as much. They're going to want to see progress with this group and then expect more the following year.
The thing
I think barring disaster, this is at least a 2-year run.
Okay, so
to see if these changes work.
I probably agree with you, I guess. I don't know for sure. I've been very wishy-washy on this topic throughout the last few months, but I want to propose like a hypothetical to you. So last year, one of the reasons that Frost was able to come back, though with some changes, but bring back the majority of his staff, by the way, more than 50% of his staff, was that, while the record was what the record was, 3-9, they lost every game by 9 points or fewer, and 8 of the games were by a score or less. Or not or less, they were by 1 score. They were 1-score games, except for the Ohio State game, which was a 9-point defeat. Let's say that they do double the win total, so they do get to 6-6. They do make a bowl game, but they look worse in terms of what was a positive last year, even with the bad record, and that was losing games by a score. What if they did win more games, but there were 2 or 3 true blowouts mixed in there. I'm talking like 3+ scores, and then the other 3 games or whatever they are, where the team improves the win-loss record, but they actually look like a worse product on the football field. I wonder what that means, because so often we do get buried in just the raw data of the situation. They won this many games, they lost this many games. The score was this, the score was that, and that really matters. But what happens if there is more emotion in the wins and the losses than there was last year? Because remember, the emotion of last year's situation was who the coach is and his history with the program. What if the emotion this time was frustration because of blowout losses?
Well,
what does that mean?
I've said that I think Nebraskans still have PTSD from some of those Bo Pelini era blowouts.
Absolutely.
And that can cloud your judgment. It really depends on how it all looks. You can get beat by 3 or 4 scores and look competitive.
What if it looks like the Illinois loss in 2020? What if it looks like the Minnesota loss, a 1-score loss, by the way?
Well, it depends. It depends it depends if that's happening a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It depends if that's happening a lot.
Because 2020,
which is why I would say I'm trying not to get too caught up in the actual number, in the wins and the losses,
but more how it looks.
But more in how it looks. That said, I just don't think that. I just don't think realistically, even if next year looks exactly the same as last year, that you can run it back again. But if they show some improvement, and yeah, even if there are a couple of, bigger defeats, I don't think you want to get caught up in too much of the minutia of, well, they lost by 28 points. That's not good. Because
if it doesn't come down to wins and losses, what are you judging it by then?
Well, you're judging on a combination of those things. You're judging it on, are they making progress in terms of wins and losses? And in terms of how it looks and how it feels down on the field. And also understanding, yes, you're going through a transition period. You've changed out half of your staff.
Look, the thing is, they cannot have the math says they cannot have another season like last year. And I'm not talking about just the wins and losses. I'm talking about the way in which they lost those games. Last season was a statistical anomaly. I will guarantee that they will lose a game by 2 scores. It's going to happen. It absolutely is going to happen. There's no way that they can go through that. And not to mention, they were down by multiple scores against, Illinois late, against Minnesota late, and against Purdue late. They often got, late touchdowns to make those games 1-score games. Even Oklahoma.
Yeah, there were some of those 1-score games that weren't truly 1-score
especially
games.
Purdue and Illinois those were bad football games. They played like crap, and then they got late scores, and so it made it look a little bit better.
Yeah, no, those were just terrible performances.
So that's just not something that I think that will be able to hang your hat on.
But there's the other thing too is and it really didn't get discussed much, and I thought it should have. Part of the reason why things got rolled back was there were probably some machinations going on behind the scenes with people who have some deep pocketbooks that didn't want a change to happen.
Yeah.
And don't think the boosters don't have a say in some of this, whether it's in contract extensions or firing a coach. It matters. Mm-hmm. Matters a lot.
Well, especially now, John, in the era of name, image, likeness.
It's the silent partner behind the scenes that you don't hear from.
Hey, what if somebody of substance says, hey, I've been kicking in a lot of money for this collective. Not doing that if they fire him, or the other way. I'm not doing it if you bring him back again.
And I think there were more than enough people on the support Frost side that were like,
Well, yeah, I think that much is pretty obvious now, because if there wouldn't have been, I think that he would have been gone.
I do too.
Because I think, it's probably a fact that they would have had to convince, they would have had to convince people. Trev would have had to convince people why they did it. You don't want to have to do that. You don't want to have to do a sales job on firing a football coach, because then you're already playing defense. You're already in a really tricky situation.
But ultimately, if there's noticeable progress shown, I think we're really looking at 2 years of this. And so, You could get 6-6. When with a bowl loss 6-7 and it gets rolled back again next year, I could definitely see that happening. Definitely see that happening. So I'm not looking at this as they've got to get to 8. They've got to get to 9. Not at all. I'm not looking at that at all.
If you're right, and let's pretend that it's the 6 or even 5, because there's some people I'll talk to and they're like, I think he'd get brought back if they won 5 again. You do have to have that question of, are you completely tearing down what the program is and stands for? And I'm not trying to be a jerk about it, but you just ultimately have to wonder, at what point do wins and losses no longer matter? If you're right, wins and losses don't matter. And I know that's not directly what you said, but if you're saying, I don't think he has to get to even 8 wins, what is the program doing? How do you keep asking for the fans to support that?
Well, there's always that question too. But listen, I really thought that the threat of the end of the sellout streak,
I did too,
but it didn't.
And they're faking it. They're faking it now, and it's just kind of okay.
Yeah, So some of the previous factors that I thought really had a strong pull aren't really there right now.
Yeah,
and the other part of it too is there's enough of a trust, because the question gets asked all the time. How much worse can it get? How much damage, how much permanent damage can you do with all of this?
Yeah.
And I think there's a trust factor that, Frost isn't going to leave you in shambles. I know some people like Joe and Phoenix might be laughing right now, but I don't
they're
see
15 and 29.
Exactly. I know, but what I'm saying is, it's not going to get broke to such an extent that the next person can't come in and fix it if you have the right leadership. And so I think there is at least a trust factor that we're going to let this go. And Albert said as much when he talked about, if I'm going to fall back on something, I'll fall back on loyalty. And he knows deep down that Frost isn't going to. He's not going to try to run things into the ground on purpose. And he's not going to try to leave the program in any permanent damage. So a little more grace will be given. At least that's what he said.
John's followed up, by the way. Thanks for listening, John. He says he could fire him due to boosters. He likes the staff, but he doesn't trust their manager. I think the new manager is on the staff now.
Well, yeah, absolutely. If there is a change in the boosters of substance, and they start to lose faith, then absolutely that changes everything. But I think two things. One, there are more than enough boosters of substance that were like, hold on here, Scott's our guy. And the public sentiment of the masses was very much in favor of keeping him.
We talked last year at the end of the season about this idea of trying to figure out the exact way to phrase this, but sometimes you need to see from somebody a reason to trust them. Okay, I distrust you right now, so you're going to have to earn my trust.
Mm-hmm.
Where in a way, I think this situation has been flipped. I don't think he wants to fire Scott Frost for the obvious reasons. Yes, but I don't think he wants to do that because, you speak about irreparable harm and damage that you can never come back from. There is this legitimate fear around here. I think it's misguided and misplaced, but that's not me not understanding that it is a real thing. There's this fear that if you do that, everything changes and Nebraska is forever going to be they're not going to be what they once were ever again. It's impossible. He doesn't want to do it for that reason, among many other reasons. So he is almost looking for the reason to fire him. And that's why, in a way, the leash does seem to be longer than you would expect for a coach that's 15 and 29.
And that's why I think a lot of the mystery metrics are more behavioral based than benchmark based. Because, he hasn't said it outright, but you can kind of tell by the body language and stuff. There are some things that Trev wasn't a big fan of when it came to Frost's behavior and just general demeanor, if you will. And so I think a lot of the metrics have to do with that. Looking more like a head coach, more presentable like a head coach.
Sweater?
I don't know if it's that nitpicky, but I think Trev wants a certain image portrayed by the leaders within his program. I think that's a big reason why Fred Hoiberg, beyond the obvious huge buyout, but if Fred Hoiberg, didn't carry himself in a certain way, I think it would have been a lot easier for Trev to pull the trigger. But Fred carries himself in a certain way.
And you get in a very dangerous territory when you're doing that, because then you're basically like all the people that wanted to keep Mike Riley because he was nice. You get into, it's a cutthroat business.
And it's not so much, this coach is nice, this coach is mean, but there's just in certain ways in how you carry yourself and how you represent as the face of the program. Scott Frost is the face of Nebraska football.
Mm-hmm.
Just like any head coach is, and especially in college sports, the face of their program.
Definitely.
And Trev Alberts, out of the coaches that he has, he wants those coaches to portray a certain face of that program. And I think that's where some of these metrics come from.
Scott says, I'll never understand why all this losing from Frost is okay. If it's any other coach, fans would be calling for his head. Just because he's a Nebraska kid shouldn't make it okay to keep him after going 15-29 after 4 seasons. It makes me sick.
But we talked about this even when he was hired.
Mm-hmm. Hey, we just didn't think we'd have to view it this
We just didn't think it would be to this extreme.
Yeah. Jed says, I believe that a shuffling of assistants deserves at least 2 years to show us something. But if you want to be Nebraska, you just cannot keep Frost if it's 5 years under 500. And yes, if Frost goes, then the whole staff goes.
More than likely, yeah. Because you don't want the next coach coming in with any, but you got to keep this guy, and this guy. You do not want to do that.
If you want to keep them, cool. If you don't
but if you're told to keep them, then you're already starting with one hand tied behind your back. And that's not a good way to hire a new coach. Here's Chris. Hi, Chris.
Hey, guys. I think we completely agree. I do with you guys anyway that, Frost is going to try and run this team into the ground if things go wrong intentionally. He's not going to pull Bill Callahan where he stops wearing Nebraska stuff in October,
right.
all that stuff. But at what point, and this was my number one, irrational fear when he first got hired, was if this does start to go south, at what point does he do everything possible to make sure he succeeds and doesn't want to lose this program to where he starts getting the program into some situations NCAA wise where maybe he's allowing players to not go to classes and cover up grades and say, no, you're fine, you're playing, you're good. Obviously, NIL makes it a bit easier to have the pay-for-play thing covered up a little bit there. But, at what point do you concern that Frost is going to do whatever it takes to make sure his alma mater becomes successful without worrying about possibly getting caught later? Not doing it intentionally to do it, to bury it in the ground, but just do it just to win, to make sure they can win, not thinking long-term. Has that ever been a fear of anyone as we get close to possibly the end of this in 1 or 2 years?
Well, I think, and thanks for the call, Chris.
Interesting question, Chris.
It is an interesting question, but I don't think Frost would do that, even if desperate.
I mean,
and B, if it started to happen.
Well, didn't it technically start to happen during COVID? I mean, there are on an NCAA investigation. We can agree or disagree about that was. I'm just saying.
I know, but he's talking about cutting classes, doing stuff like North Carolina was accused of, and other things. I think if there was even a whiff that was happening, Trev would put an end to it very quickly.
Yeah,
very quickly. And I personally don't think Scott Frost would do that. Now, yes, is everybody stretching the bounds of the rules? Of course, but let's face it. The stuff that really gets you in trouble anymore at the NCAA is not going to get you in trouble anymore.
Joel says it's hard to explain, but it seems like Trev wants continuity within the athletic department and wants to give everyone a chance now that some of the dysfunction is getting taken care of. I think that Joel hits on something right there. I mean, Trev said as much within the last, 2 months. I do not think that he just wants to come in here and just start firing everybody, even though the results are so bad. And that's, once again, it's a fine line that he is walking.
It is.
Everyone will acknowledge, even the most ardent Scott Frost fans will acknowledge 15-29 has not been good enough. But there does have to be a line, I would think, for everybody where it goes from this hasn't been good enough to this hasn't been good enough. And now there has to be a change. I think the big issue, of course, has been the money component. I definitely think if Fred's buyout was a normal amount, let's say it's $5 to $10 million, he would have been gone. I don't think I can say the same for Scott Frost, given the politics of the situation.
Mhm.
You know, it would have been, I think, a closer decision maybe, but with the politics of the situation, as long as that's there, you know, it's going to be hard to make a decision or a change rather.
402-951-1620. You can email the Equitable Bank inbox, John at 1620thezone.com or Josh at 1620thezone.com. If you missed it earlier, had some of the audio from Tiger Woods. He says he's going to be back this weekend. If he says, as of today, I'm going to play.
Tiger's out of the woods.
Well, he hopes he stays out of the woods because that means he's in the fairway. And if you're in the fairway, you got a better chance to win. And speaking of winning, you could win with golf's first major of the year. A true major, not a minor major. This is a major.
A tournament of great significance?
A tournament of great significance. And you can be a major winner because right now on the FanDuel Sportsbook, new customers get 30-1 odds on Jordan Spieth, Rory McIlroy, or Dustin Johnson just to make the cut this weekend.
Just to make the cut?
Just to make the cut. 30-1 odds. If any of those players make the cut, you win big, and all you have to do is remember the number 1620.
John, it is incredible. Those odds are incredible. 30-1 odds.
Nuts.
Spieth, McIlroy, or DJ just to make the cut at that golf tournament of great significance down in Augusta, Georgia. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook today. Take a swing at betting the first major of the year. All you got to do, John said the number 1620. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app, put in our promo code 1620 and get those 30-1 odds on either, one more time, Jordan Spieth, Rory McIlroy, or Dustin Johnson just to make the cut in Augusta, Georgia. That is the FanDuel Sportsbook promo code 1620. 21 plus present in Iowa. New users only, must wager in designated offer market. Max bet is $5. Restrictions do apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Your Omaha area forecast from Canoyer Garden Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Windy and cooler this evening, clearing skies, breezy and colder later tonight. Lows drop back in the low 40s. Some sun early Wednesday, but it will be windy and skies will cloud over. Highs just in the low 50s. I am Chief Meteorologist Bill Ranby from KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct, brought to you by a great friend of the program, Union Bank and Trust.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. Heads up, we got a crash on 144th at Platteview Road. Still stop-and-go traffic if you're east on Highway 370 between Golden Boulevard and the JFK. Traffic lights malfunctioning on 120th at Stonegate Drive. That's causing delays for north and southbound commuters. I'm Mike Neville. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Burton AC Plumbing, Heating, and More.
Hi, I'm Mark Evans, owner of Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More. Right now, we'll open your drain line for only $93 or it's free. Call for details or request service at justcallburton.com.
Suck it up.
It's not a big deal.
Snap out.
Just get over it.
We've all heard it. But if you're experiencing extreme stress, it's not just in your head. It can affect your entire body because toxic stress can hurt us physically without us even knowing it. If you've lost a job, worry about your next meal, or have trouble making it through the day, if you're feeling the effects of stress, we can help. Text stress to 211-211 to find a solution.
If you're passionate about coffee, you should consider a career at Host Coffee as a valued service technician to install, repair, and rebuild state-of-the-art commercial coffee, iced tea, espresso, juice, cappuccino machines, and water coolers. Apply today and join our team at hostcoffee.net/careers.
Shop Lanahaw Nurseries for all your mulch needs. Best quality mulch at the best price. You'll notice our prices are lower than anybody else's. That's because you're buying your mulch straight from where it's made. Convenient delivery or pickup. Lanahaw Nurseries, 192nd and Center.
At the United States Postal Service, we deliver packages fast and affordably so you can give your customers what they want when they need it. We're delivering for one-stop shops, mom and pops, pop-ups, startups, retail, wholesale, large scale, small biz, big box, customers, customizers. So no matter what business you're in, we'll always be delivering for you. USPS, delivering for America. Learn more at usps.com/delivering.
This is Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson.
My wife does that too. I love that.
The 1620, The Zone.
Kevin writes into the Equitable Bank inbox, is Frost and Hoiberg getting coaching lessons from Amy Williams? Just wondering.
And throw John Cook in there too.
Yeah. Chris says, do you think Trev would have been able to turn Bo around? Bo Pelini. I mean, he would have expected out of Bo the same thing he expects out of his other coaches.
Yeah, and not to mention, I mean, Tom Osborne was also his boss for a few years.
That's
too.
right.
It's not like he had a green athletic director or a guy who didn't hire him for the whole time. He only had I-Course for 2 full seasons. The last 2, but still. David writes in, if wins and losses don't matter at Nebraska, then we might as well give them orange slice and juice boxes after the game.
And again, I'm not saying the wins and losses don't matter. Of course they matter.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it's more nuanced than that. I don't think there is a number attached to this season that you have to win this. I mean, we just saw a season. We just went through a season where the number didn't match what we saw. The 3 wins did not match what we saw. And the analytics point that out. Even if you don't want to believe what your eyes said, the other analytics are like, no way, this team was not a 3-win team. So, yes, the wins and losses do matter, and eventually it matters a lot.
I was going to say, but at what point, does it stop mattering? Or does it matter more, I guess?
But part of it is this to me has been a reset. This has been a reset season. This is almost like a first year all over again.
BTD on the YouTube page says, I don't think you can wholeheartedly and honestly look to the schedule and see more than 4 wins. Where do you see those wins?
I mean,
will win, might win, should win, won't win.
I look forward to that exercise this year.
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to that exercise. But guess what? Whether or not we think they're winnable games or not,
it's a winnable game.
Doesn't mean that they're actually going to be won. And
Well,
so I don't want to get caught in the same trap of, well, I look at this schedule and I see 7 winnable games. I also don't want to go to the other extreme and say, well, I can't even see 4 winnable games on here.
No, there will definitely be a lot of games that they could either win or lose. I'm going to
there's going to be a lot of coin flips, just like last year.
Yeah. It's just, do you trust them? Do you trust them to close? I mean, the thing is, there's going to be different parties involved. There will be a different quarterback for the first time in Scott Frost's era, who is truly going to start the entire season.
Yep.
Be a different play caller, different offensive coordinator, different receivers coach. There are changes.
Not to mention the changes at all of the other schools.
But then on the other side, you have the changes in defense. And I just don't know at this point if, I feel like we've been making a lot of it lately, but in a way, I almost wonder if we haven't made enough of, that side of the ball has really, dare I say, they're the reason Nebraska, I know that they went 3-9, and I'm not going to defend that. But if they don't have the defense that they had last year, they'll go 3-9, but they would have gotten smoked in a few of those games. The defense really, think about the level that they played against Oklahoma. Think about the level that they played against Michigan State in that second half. Think about how they held Iowa. They clamped them down until the dam broke because of the blocked, punt. The defense really allowed, and then it's funny because then in the games when they wouldn't play very well, I think of Michigan in the second half and I think of Wisconsin. That's when the offense finally played well too. But I think the defense is definitely going to take a step back this year. And, can the offense mitigate those damages?
There was an interesting story on the Golf Channel this week about the creation of the Augusta National. Of course, it was Bobby Jones, the legendary golfer who, wanted to build this golf course in his native Georgia. And originally he had a friend who had been, friend of his for a long time, who was likely going to be the architect for that course. His name was Donald Ross. And Ross had already designed the Atlanta Golf Club and a lot of other golf clubs. And he was kind of one of the foremost designers of his day. Well, as Bobby Jones is starting to dream about this golf course and it's starting to come closer to fruition, he's matched up in the 1929 U.S. Amateur with a guy by the name of Johnny Goodman, who was a 19-year-old from Omaha. And Goodman, who would go on to be the last amateur to win the U.S. Open, 1933, ended up beating Bobby Jones on this day. Beat him. Straight up. Match play. And Jones, because, obviously it's not like today where you just jump on your private jet and go home. He ended up staying down in Florida where this tournament, the U.S. Amateur, was being held, and made some other appearances and met with some other people. And he met up with this guy by the name of Alistair McKenzie. And they struck up a relationship. They started talking. Well, eventually McKenzie was the one who got the job to design the course, not the longtime friend, Donald Ross. And as a result, the course was designed as it was and became iconic almost from the beginning. But it would have been a very different course, because the theory is if Jones beats Goodman on that day, he's still playing in the U.S. Amateur, and he never gets to meet McKenzie. And he likely hires his longtime friend. And then the course probably is a very different course than the one that it became.
Maybe it was less racist in that alternate world.
I don't know about that. I'm just talking about the design of the course, Josh.
Okay, my bad.
Just the design of the course.
I will stick to sports.
Just the design of the course.
Stick to course.
But it's certainly possible that Omaha's Johnny Goodman
may
have altered the course of history.
Pray I don't alter the course of history.
Well, I can't believe John Goodman did all of that.
Johnny Goodman.
Yeah.
He is the last amateur to win the U.S. Open right here in Omaha, Nebraska.
That's crazy.
From right here in Omaha. 1933.
Wow.
So kind of an
That's a fun
interesting
story.
link. Kind of an interesting link to Omaha and the Augusta National. Note that this week's Zone Deal is for Cops. Cops, home of famous pizza, salads, char-buffed wings, and all of their homemade sauces. And they have keto crust, friends. You can visit them now at their locations in Shadow Lake Town Center or 72nd in Jones. And this week, you can get $50 worth of Cops Pizza gift cards for only $25. And they go on sale this Friday at 1620thezone.com.
1620 The Zone is easy to hear anywhere, on air, online, and on social media. Wherever you are, we are. 1620 The Zone.
Seller's market? Yeah, that's the understatement of the year. So how does that affect you?
Brent Rasmussen of Mortgage Specialists.
No matter what's going on with the economy, there are several unbendable laws at work. The biggest one is, when supply is low, the demand is high. It's no different in the housing market. Right now, the difference in the number of available homes in the metro area versus the number of waiting buyers is extreme. So if you're thinking that you want to buy, what should you do, or even not do? Well, first things first, let's make a plan. Mortgage Specialists will be there to give you all the correct information you're going to need. We know ways that'll show the seller that you're a serious buyer. We'll use all of our knowledge and experience to show you other ways to navigate in this market. I'm Brent Rasmussen. Call me at Mortgage Specialists, and we can show you all of the details. Mortgage Specialists, driven, trusted, reliable.
Click mtg-specialists.com. NMLS number 5918, equal housing lender.
If there's one thing that you can count on every spring, it's that we're going to have to deal with some hail. J-Tech Construction is the company to call to make it right again. J-Tech Construction specializes in siding, roofing, windows, and gutters, even solar. They're trained for insurance claims assistance, and they can help with your insurance company. Turn to the team the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Use your favorite search engine to find J-Tech Construction online and schedule a free estimate today.
When you shop at Baker's,
you can double your savings because every time you shop, you'll earn fuel points that will help you save more at the pump. So you'll enjoy lower than low prices at Baker's, plus fuel points on all your favorite items, which makes doubling your savings easy. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply. See store for details.
We're hiring for immediate openings with next day pay, benefits, and great perks. Apply today at jobs.kroger.com/bakers.
Searching for your next vehicle? Shop Woodhouse first. Over 1,000 pre-owned vehicles in stock and on our lots, with new trades arriving daily that you can explore on woodhouse.com. Plus, confidence comes standard when you purchase a pre-owned car, truck, or SUV from Woodhouse. With our multi-point inspection, transparent pricing, available add-on warranties, and financing options, purchasing a pre-owned vehicle has never been simpler. Experience the difference and drive away today confident and road-ready in your new vehicle from Woodhouse.
Police officers know it only takes a few seconds of someone texting and driving for things to go terribly wrong. That's why officers are increasing enforcement of texting and driving laws. So put your phone down when driving, or be prepared for the consequences. You drive, you text, you pay. Paid for by NHTSA.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct is brought to you by Union Bank and Trust. Now back to the program.
Unsportsmanlike content. Unsportsmanlike content.
Unsportsmanlike content. Content that's unsportsmanlike.
It is time for some unsportsmanlike content. And with that in mind, here is Nick.
Hi, that's me. I'm Nick.
Yes.
Hey, Nick. The NCAA's Mark Emmert will have an interesting year. Last night, he presented a trophy to them.
Fan base has been extraordinary. We're so excited for you. And here to present the trophy is the head of the basketball committee, Tom Burnett, to Coach Self and the Kansas City Jayhawks, the University of Kansas Jayhawks.
And later this year, he might have to punish them. College sports.
How, John, do you screw up something that obvious and easy? They are the Kansas Jayhawks. They have always been the Kansas Jayhawks.
I think
they're not the Kansas City Jayhawks.
I think he was a little bit nervous because he
Bill
realized
Self was just standing there smiling at him.
Yep.
Oh boy.
And these are on opposite sides of the fence because the NCAA may have to slap him on the hand, and Emmert may have to hold a press conference explaining why Bill Self, the coach of the reigning defending national champs, has to sit 15 games because of his role in all of these sanctions, which is possible. It could happen.
It could happen.
I think he was just a wee bit nervous.
Oh, he was
they
definitely
need
nervous.
to find – I know that, Goodell does a decent enough job, but if
Adam Silver,
Gary
Bettman,
they need to find better presenters that can represent the sport, especially the NCAA.
Well, I mean, at least in, say what you want about Goodell and Adam Silver and Gary Bettman and Rob Manfred. They do speak in public a lot more often than Mark Emmert does.
Well,
so they're used to
and when
it.
Emmert does speak in public, people mock him all the time because he's usually testifying at some kind of congressional hearing.
Yeah, that's true.
Oof. I had it open, then it shut. In 3 different way too early top 25s for next basketball season, the Creighton men showed up ranked 9, 7, and 10. Will it be Elite 8 or bust for the Jays in 23?
It may be there. It may be there, but we can't. I won't say right now because obviously we don't know exactly what's going to happen, transfer portal and all the other stuff. But certainly right now, the expectations are going to be ramped up big time for 2023. No question about it.
There were high expectations for Doug's last year. There were high expectations 2 years ago. But given that neither of those teams had broken through the program rather before both of those seasons had not broken through the Sweet 16 glass ceiling. Neither of them had the expectations of Elite Eight. It was more of a, come on, make it to the second weekend.
Yeah, because it was it was a program goal for the longest time.
They broke through that a couple of years ago. And so, yeah, I think Jays fans, it's okay to dream a little bit larger This is going to be assuming that the players all return like we think that they will, that the transfer portal ends up being a positive for them. I'm guessing that they will be very well coached again next year. And the conference will be great. They're going to have an opportunity to challenge themselves on a week in, week out, day in, day out basis. Once again, with this conversation, I know it makes people skittish. Like, what does bust mean? Does that mean people are getting fired? No, it does not have to be that way. But where you put the expectations on it, make the Elite Eight or it's a disappointing season. I think that that's okay. I think the program is at that point in their growth where it's fine to say that.
Nebraska was 20th and Creighton 24th in the way too early women's basketball top 25 from ESPN, by the way. Are those fair rankings?
I want to tackle Creighton first. That's a team that is returning a lot of players, a lot of scores, a lot of talent from a group that just, made it to the Elite Eight. And so I'm guessing, for ESPN in this situation, they're saying, hey, that was a little fluky. It was a 10 seed that was able to go on that run. They had to upset, literally every team that they played was a higher seeded team than they were a lower seed, however you view it. So that's probably why they're viewing it that way. But I'm bullish on them. I'm bullish on that ranking being a little bit too low.
I think they're both fair. Just from the standpoint of, again, Creighton kind of made a run that not a lot of people were expecting. But the expectations, similar to the men's team, are going to be up. Same for Nebraska. The expectations are going to be up next year because they return a lot of their production. And they have recruited well. So it'll be exciting to watch as all three teams who were the only ones to represent the state in the postseason this year are all going to have higher expectations next year.
Joe Davis is now officially the new voice of Major League Baseball on Fox. Is this a good move?
It's a natural move. It's the best move they could have made because Joe does the games for the Dodgers. He took over for Vin Scully. He's been their number 2 or number 3 announcer on Major League Baseball. I know Kevin Burkhardt's been in that mix, but he typically does a lot of the studio stuff. Joe does an excellent job. And Joe is a baseball guy. If there's one thing that Buck got criticized for, I thought unfairly, was he didn't do a lot of baseball, especially in his later years, that he did in his earlier years, and thus kind of got distant from the game. And then there was the falderall about whether or not he actually liked baseball anymore, which I thought was also overblown. But Joe Davis, you're not going to have any issues with that. He's going to be around the Dodgers all season long. If anything, he may have to deal with those accusations because the Dodgers will likely be in the playoffs. But when you're a really good announcer, as he is, you didn't have to worry. I don't remember a lot of people when, the Dodgers were playing the Athletics in the 88 World Series, folks going, oh, that Vin Scully, he's going to be one-sided for the Dodgers. No one ever said that. Now, that's Vin Scully, a legend. Joe Davis has a way to go before he gets to that kind of a level. But he's really good.
Yeah, I think it's a great move. It's the obvious move. I don't think that they could have done really anything else. I mean, I guess Kevin Burkhardt, but I consider him much more of a studio guy. He does their studio coverage. I thought Ferrin put it really well earlier, though. Joe Buck got the job in the mid-'90s. He's called more World Series than anybody. He was in his 20s. Joe Davis is a year older than I am right now. He's 34. And so you're probably looking at another guy, assuming that he does a good job, which I think he will, that could be around also for many more decades. So you could have this really weird scenario where only 2 guys call the World Series starting in whenever NBC lost the rights, 98, 99, all the way through, 2030s, 40s, 50s, whatever.
I think the other part of it, too, is you're going to get more variety. Because sometimes people get tired of the Bucks and the Nances who do all the signature events for their network.
Yep.
Now you're going to have a situation where you're going to have 2 different voices for the 2 biggest sports that Fox carries. Then if you want to throw in Gus Johnson on college football, 3, which is unique because usually, if it's a big event and it's on CBS, Jim Nance is the lead announcer and people can get tired of that. So you'll get a different feel with each sport, and people who are probably more laser focused on that one sport, you may end up getting a better broadcast.
Great point.
The NBA TV playoff windows have been released, and while there aren't many changes, there will be a Sunday afternoon in May when ABC will skip the basketball and air the Formula One Miami Grand Prix. Sorry, Josh. My sport's cooler than your dumb sport, and America cares about it more.
Probably because there's going to be a night game in the NBA that day.
No, they moved the NBA over to ESPN for that day.
Oh, that's whack. Ha! Have fun. I mean, I have ESPN, so it's this.
I know, but it's networked.
I don't care about that stuff. I'm not a TV
Oh,
ratings guy.
Somebody over here's triggered.
Oh,
I'm not
you a little jelly, Josh?
No, again,
jelly, Josh.
I go to YouTube TV and it tells me where to. I just click on the button.
Oh man, how embarrassing is this?
Mike Green will still be on the call on ESPN. Wow, gonna be crazy different.
Yeah, but millions fewer will be able to watch because it's not on ABC.
Such a
Meanwhile,
bummer.
the folks will be switching around there and land on their KETV and watch Max Verstappen and New Orleans Saints racing through the streets of Miami while Giannis is relegated to cable television.
It'd probably be Charles and Max, but same team.
Go
Good
Saints.
job.
Go Saints.
Carlos Sainz is cool. No issues. FX has ordered The Sterling Affair starring Lawrence Fishburne as Doc Rivers about the downfall of the Los Angeles Clippers owner Donald Sterling amid the team's drive to win a championship. Does this sound like a show you two would be interested in?
Not really.
Yeah, look, that was a very important story and a very major story.
Sure, it was.
So, amid the team's drive to win a championship, spoiler alert, they did not win a championship. They never even made it to the NBA Finals. Like,
Well, but
make a
they- but-
documentary. Why do we have to keep doing all these series about all these
You know
historical-
why? Because and even though this is going to be far more serious than the Lakers one, I think they're
winning time.
I think they're seeing, the idea of these dramatically recreated docuseries, and they're seeing the popularity of them, and they're like, oh, well, we can do that too. I don't know. I'm just not that interested.
No. Like, I don't really want to relive that story. It wasn't a fun story. I don't think there's like a redeeming quality.
Well, it doesn't have to be a fun story. I mean, you can be in. It's like the O.J. Simpson trial.
Like, the
That
guy
wasn't
was
a
like
fun
really
story.
racist and a piece of trash. Like, I just don't know if there's going to be, what's the hook? Like, there's a lot of hooks in Winning Time where I'm like, I want to watch that and I want to watch that, even though I know, the main principles of the story. What's the hook though of this show? I don't know.
See, it's time to check in on the LA Lakers, and now they're 2 games behind the Spurs
boy.
for the last play-in game spot with only 4 games to play. Should we have a funeral for LeBron James and friends like we did for Nebraska Ball?
Well, we did that. They ended up winning some games, so I guess we could be a little reverse jinx. R.I.P. Lakers, your season's dead. Now watch them go win the NBA Finals. How funny would that be?
It would be funny, but it's not happening. We've been shoveling dirt on the Lakers for several weeks now.
Yeah, this happens every week in content.
Yeah. Mainly because it's kind of fun,
Hey, I'm a Lakers guy. It's not fun.
We're filling in the lake.
It's kind of fun. I mean,
Are there even lakes?
and
in
let's
LA?
face
No.
it, you're the Lakers. You see
there's a
the
couple
writings on the wall.
Which right?
And the writing on the wall is this is a Rams town now, man. No
That
one
is not-
cares about us anymore.
That is not the right.
It is a Rams town.
Are you
now.
sure the Chargers aren't a little more popular?
Well, the Chargers are probably a little more popular too, but
Then
that's
the
only
Lakers?
But that's only because they're
Yeah.
they're drafting off of the Rams' success.
Drafting.
Sorry,
that's a Formula
Lakers.
One term.
Sorry, Lakers.
Nice.
You might want to reconsider maybe moving back to Minnesota.
It's also a thing the Rams don't do.
It's a Rams town now.
That's true, Nick. Well played.
Thank
Get that? The Rams don't draft.
What if, just what if, the NFL just stopped doing overtime in the regular season? Why can't people just be happy with ties?
So this was an idea. It's been an idea that's been thrown out a lot.
It
ever since.
has.
I'll be honest. Don't hate it. I think I
Wait
would.
a minute. Where's
I
your
know.
flip flopper?
Well, hey, I don't call
What's your name,
flip-flopping.
Nancy Pelosi? You
I-
flip flopping over
I
there?
was going to say
You
John.
politician.
I was going to say John Kerry. But I think I have the data. I'm looking at my models and my weather
Oh,
models.
you're ogling models again.
But no,
You want my vibe models instead?
I'll stick away from the vibe models. I'll be honest. I kind of like this idea. I think it's intriguing. I think that there would be some end of game situations that would require, if they want, teams could go for 2. They could go for the tie. I think it'd be interesting enough. I don't hate it. And also, you could definitely do the sales job of now we're not going to have overtimes, and thus the guys won't be hitting each other a lot. You hate it?
No, this is an overreaction because we changed the overtime rules, and in the postseason is, listen, we don't like ties. Now, I don't mind them, but I'm saying we as a collective, we want
collective
when we
The
want
bagmen.
to,
The
when
bagmen.
we want to watch a
Paper or
game,
plastic.
we want to watch a tie. If Tiger Woods and Louis Oosthuizen tie at the Masters, and they just decide, you know what, we're just going to split this jacket in half, people would be upset.
Well, that's a story from the Bible where they were going to split the baby in half, but then the mom was like, no, that's my baby. And then the guy was like, well, okay, this is your baby.
Yeah,
that's talking Bible.
We
That
should
is
at
talking
least
Bible.
have an overtime in the regular season. This is a dumb idea, but it's just people overreacting again and overthinking it.
I think it's kind of fun. I think it's deviant.
Well, you like
Yeah,
soccer,
it's
though, and they
different.
tie
It's
in
different,
soccer.
dumb. Well, but
They tie in hockey too.
But
Well, they used to, I
soccer
guess.
has a culture of ties.
Draws.
They like ties.
I'm going to a soccer match tonight. Can't wait.
Going to be on the pitch.
You're going to a soccer
Yeah, going to
match?
Morrison, baby.
What's going
Union
on over there?
Omaha. Let's go.
Is there regular season started?
No, it's Gold Cup, Green Cup. Who gives a? No, they're playing in something tonight though. I'm going with my best friend. I can't wait.
But is it? It's not. I thought their regular season.
Nah, it's something else. I don't know what it is. He asked me if I wanted to go, and I said sure. I'm not doing anything better on a Tuesday night.
And they're playing at Morrison.
They're playing Morrison. I'm pumped, man. I can't wait.
Huh.
You can tell. I know a lot about this matchup, and I'm just going to tell you this. I'll boo the other team. Boo. Boo. Go Union Omaha.
What if the other team is playing like for a very special charity?
That's not happening, thankfully.
But what if?
No, well, I'm an Omaha boy, Nick. I'm an Omaha boy. We were talking about the Donald Sterling TV show that we don't want to watch. Sam says, what about a series about the sudden end of the Schick and Nick show? Dude, there are some juicy details in that. You want a spicy show? That would be a spicy show.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Oh, yeah.
That would be. I would be more interested in that than in the Sterling affairs. I'll say that much.
Yeah. By the way, my friend, it's called the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, and the other team is from Iowa, Nick.
Wait, Lamar Hunt?
I guess he's
They're
doing
Kansas City.
I know. Well,
They're playing for the AFC Championship, the Lamar Hunt Trophy.
You know, the Chiefs, since they won the Lombardi, they're like, we don't really want this AFC trophy. We'll just give it away to these two random soccer teams.
And this is like some kind of an exhibition?
So it is no. It's a knockout cup competition. It's basically a playoff. It is the oldest ongoing national soccer competition in the United States of America. It was
Nice.
founded in 1914, before the Great War, John, or in the midst of the Great War.
But it has nothing to do with the regular season.
No. This is something else. It's like a playoff. It's
And
like
it's
a
before,
Champions
and it's
League.
before the regular
It's
season.
like a side story, John.
It's a side story. There you go.
It's
an episode of the week. It's a monster of the week.
Yeah,
as they called the X-Files sometimes. Yep.
It's like the Solo movie.
You learn something new every day.
It's the Solo movie of soccer.
There you go.
Well, I hope it gets better reviews than that one did.
Also, that's true. Zachary,
Even though
points
I
out,
liked it.
think of how many more points I could lose in predictions going for ties. See, you should want this. Easy peasy for you, because it'd be like time for the Bucks and the Rams, and I'd be like, tie.
I don't need any more help. Josh gives me all the help that he possibly can by just being bad at predictions.
Darn it!
I'm still your reigning champion.
Not for long.
No, not for long. You're almost mathematically eliminated, and we still have like 5 more months of this round.
Speaking of being mathematically eliminated, bet of the day.
Next on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
From sports medicine to spine, bone, and joint problems, Nebraska Medicine is your home for the region's most comprehensive orthopedic care. Our specialists have the unmatched expertise to diagnose and treat common and complex problems, with surgery being a last resort. With multiple locations, our leading care is miles ahead, yet close to home. For orthopedic advances, this is where you begin. Visit nebraskamed.com/ortho.
Home is with you wherever that may be.
Finding the right person for the job isn't easy. Just ask someone who hired a monster truck driver to deliver pizza.
And the neighbors are going wild. You can hear that engine from a mile away, Fran.
And he's foregoing the driveway and heading right up the lawn and over the azaleas. What a power move.
But if you've got an insurance question, you can always count on your local Geico agent. They can bundle your policies, which could save you hundreds.
With 6-foot tires and a roll cage, this pizza guy could quite literally crush the competition.
For expert help with all your insurance needs, visit geico.com/local today.
After 30 plus years of delivering lush lawns and beautiful landscapes to the Omaha Metro, we are taking our business to the next level Hi, this is Chuck Monica with what used to be CM's Outdoor Solutions, and our never-ending pursuit to bring the absolute best lawn and landscape services to our Omaha neighbors and friends. We've merged with industry pioneer Ryan Lawn and Tree. So what does the new CM's together with Ryan Lawn and Tree mean to you? Even more services delivered at even higher standards with continued local ownership. Unlike other lawn companies, we are 100% employee-owned. That means the people taking care of your lawn, trees, shrubs, irrigation, landscaping, even pest control are company owners, not part-time help. Many CMs and Ryan Pros have college degrees in horticulture, forestry, and turf management. Are you ready for the best lawn and outdoor living spaces you've ever enjoyed? Visit us online for a free estimate at bestomahalawn.com. For a limited time, get your first lawn or pest application free. That's bestomahalawn.com.
Excuse me, Carol?
Hey, Dale, you finished that report I asked for?
Oh, yeah, about that. I didn't get a chance to do it.
No worries. You've been so busy.
Really?
Of course. Dale, you're our hardest worker. You should take an extra week of vacation.
Are you firing me?
No, I promise. Just giving you the break you deserve.
Wow. Thanks, boss. You sure you're not firing me?
Actually, I'm going to promote you. But first, take a week off on the company's dime.
Sometimes things just get better. Like AT&T. We've invested more than $150 million to grow our wireless network coverage to over 99% of Nebraska. So you can talk, text, and share in more places than ever. Visit att.com/Nebraska and learn how to get a free smartphone when you switch to AT&T. Coverage not available everywhere. Over 99% coverage based on third-party data. Network investments based on 2018 through 2020 expenditure.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
is pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, now we speak Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
You won't ever find out how good it is until you play with it.
This is Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone.
And you know why I'm laughing, don't you?
Now, it's time for the Unsportsmanlike Conduct Bet of the Day.
Just a little bit under where some folks would like to see this one wind up.
Brought to you by nobody.
You gotta be kidding.
Really, we don't have a sponsor. Sorry.
Rare one last night where we all lost, even though we were on different sides in the same game. So Nick and I had...
How does that happen?
Nick and I, North Carolina on the money line. That failed us. And you had Kansas -4, which failed you. Whoops. Incredible.
I thought they were going to get it when they got the ball inbounds. Dude. It's like they're going to get fouled. They're going to make their free throws. They're going to end up backdoor covering this thing. Instead, they backdoor choked it because he ran out of bounds.
Sad. I am going tonight with the Bucks. In the NBA, they are a 7-point favorite on the road in Chicago, Chi-Town. They're -106. Give me the Bucks -7.
The NBA is a horrible sport to bet on. I never win. So screw you, NBA.
Hockey guy?
Tennis guy.
Oh.
Lincoln's own Jack Sock is playing tonight in the Houston Open against Christian Garin. Give me Jack Sock -118.
-118.
Go Jack Sock.
Nick?
I'm going to do something very smart.
Nope.
Give me the Nets. Nets, Nets.
Are you doing the money line?
-2,000.
Nice. It's the bet of the day.
Iowa.
We were talking about the Lakers last segment and how they stink and everything.
Oh, they do stink.
We also talked about them not too long ago because Kareem Abdul-Jabbar said that goats, what did he say?
Goats don't dance.
Goats don't dance. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was on Sirius XM NBA radio today.
And
he said, I want to wholeheartedly apologize to LeBron and make it clear to him that I have tremendous respect for him. Goats can dance.
Goats can dance.
He didn't say the latter part.
Now, come
he apologized.
On.
Why shouldn't
the
goats
captain
dance?
shouldn't have to apologize for anything.
He did.
He was right.
Goats can't dance?
Goats aren't. Why can't
he
goats
was dancing
dance?
after beating the Pacers for crying out loud.
Your quarterback was dancing after the Super Bowl.
They won the Super Bowl. They didn't beat some scrub team from the Eastern Conference that's not going to the playoffs. They won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, what is the Super Bowl though? Dallas doesn't win it, so it doesn't
LeBron,
matter.
more like La Loser.
Bye.